Looks like an actual filmmaker's here. I love it.
Yeah.
And we're live. How's everybody doing?
Hey guys, how's it going?
That is the #1 Men in Black impression that I've seen in the last at least 11 years.
More sugar.
How are we doing out there?
Yeah, guys, what's going on? What's happening? How many other people? Other people? I can't.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of people. Oh yeah, that's right. The guests can't see it on StreamYard, can they?
Well, I got it now. I didn't have I had the private chat on. I didn't have the comments on. I can't see the number though. I'm assuming like 10,000. Is it 10,000 viewers?
It's close. We'll give it about 5 minutes. We'll get to 10,000.
Yeah.
Ken's here. What's going on, Ken? John Peters. Sardis is here. Antoine is here. We got a bunch of people. I got to admit, you are the first person that I've got on the show that isn't from like a retailer that everybody was like, holy fuck, Keene is going to be on your show? That's amazing.
That's so dumb.
So I kind of teased something as we were getting ready to come on here. Keene lives in Vegas, and I wanted to see this genuine reaction. I grew up close to Vegas, and West Coast close is a really weird relative thing. Let's see this. I grew up in Barstow.
Oh, holy butts. Yeah, that's like it's like where you want to go and you want to dump a body.
Yeah, and funny thing, I was a sheriff explorer out there. I found some of those bodies.
Fucking look at that. I know my Southwest regional culture.
Barstow is referred in many of like the LA crime shows. They say that they're sending the gangsters up to Sad Town. When they say that, they're talking about Barstow. Legitimately.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's a great. Oh man, I want to make a movie called Sad Town now. And, well, no, then I'd have to shoot in Barstow. No, I could just do what CSI does, and just shoot it wherever and say it's Barstow. Actually, I guess any hellhole.
Palm trees in the background.
Yeah. I see Ken Carlson in the comments asked if I was excited about Dr. Caligari coming to Blue for Mondo, and hell yeah, I am.
Not just Blue, 4K.
Saw the restoration. It's a 4K. Yeah, it is a 4K. I think they said it. I think it's their first 4K. If I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Yeah. And I saw the restoration at Beyond Fest now in LA, as opposed to Beyond Fest in Cleveland, and it was so fucking beautiful. I wanted to cry. Like, it was so good. And I remember after the screening ended, the director came up and he was answering questions and everything. And it was great and amazing. And then as everybody was filing out, I was like, I'm going to just say hi and be like, yo, dog, I like what you do. Although, in a much more respectful way. And I went in. I was going in. I was going to just get in there and be like, yo, dog, handshake. Because, oh, fuck, but COVID. And then some little fucking nerdling just swoops in, despite me obviously waiting. Sorry for the nipples. I don't mean to demonetize.
Oh, they're fine. Yeah.
And just is like, sir, how do you get into filmmaking? And I couldn't be entirely mad because the poor little guy just wanted to learn how to get into filmmaking from someone who made their living being a cult filmmaker, which is not the best idea. But and I couldn't be entirely mad, but at the same time, I kind of wanted him to drop dead from a heart attack. And that's my Dr. Caligari story. Love that movie.
It's understandable. We had Jared on the channel a couple months ago when we were talking about that restoration, and you can just tell he is so excited for that to come out. I don't know if it was revealed on that. I'm sure you didn't see. He let me know that they restored that in the same place that they restored the Suspiria restoration.
Really? Oh,
and
I actually have something relating to that in just a second too.
That company, they offered to do it for, as he put it, free or nearly free, just because they loved the movie that much.
That's fucking rad as hell. Also, I'm sure he was like, oh, fucking thank God. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God, no, another mortgage. Don't have to take out another mortgage. I'm good. I'm fucking good.
Yeah, that's a big title coming. And they appear to have like one of their biggest years ahead of them.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I feel bad. I dogged on Mondo quite a bit. I want to say last year. I don't honestly remember because all these years are just crammed together. Because of some bullshit on like Facebook or whatever. And then I was like, you know what? These releases are fucking rad. And we've got Dr. Caligari coming. We've got a screaming toddler out there. And man, I love this shit. So I'm like, fully on board, Mondo, that now. And this year looks like it's just gonna layer you in a fine cummy foam of love. So I'm very excited. John, am I getting hard gore from Massacre Video? Is that?
It's the one that's up for pre-order right now.
Oh, it's the one that's up for pre-order right now. Then I haven't bought it. Maybe I don't. Probably at some point. Not
Massacre Video is one of those companies that's really hard to trust.
Well, it's not even that they're hard to trust. It's just I'm very picky now. Well, right. for the most part, there's certain distributors where I get a little like, ooh, and I make mistakes. I did that with the Indicator sale that's ending tomorrow or the 4th or something.
Tomorrow, yep.
Tomorrow, yeah. I was like, oh, gotta get them Columbia Noirs on sale, and because I think I had 3 and 4, I think I didn't have, and they were on sale. And I was like, oh, well, I'm doing that. I might as well pre-order the Humphrey Bogart set. Oh, but then also there's that fucking Peter Corruption.
Yeah.
Limited edition. There's like £10, and I was like, oh, gotta fucking get
super
that.
Cheap. And then
gotta make the most.
You're close to £200 for free shipping. So
yeah. And then and then Diabolic, that motherfucker, fucking Jesse. He did that. Did you sign up for the text messages?
I did, yeah. 10% off.
Expiring today.
Yeah.
And I forgot about it. And then today I was like, oh, fuck, the 10%. Which does not matter. It's complete bullshit. But I was like, oh, does the 10%, did it end like midnight or does it end at like this midnight? And so I put it in, and it took, like $20 off an order. So that tells you how much I spent. And that was after I'd already ordered another large package from them and forgot about the discount. I'm a sad man. I'm really sad.
That makes sense. John says, I asked because you're my go-to for 70s hardcore knowledge. And is
right. Hardcore. Fuck. I totally, in my head just now, I switched that up for something that I think, why's my brain just SLS? Is that right? SRS. Jesus Christ. Sorry. I have a tumor in here, I think. But I, for some reason in my brain, when I read that question, I was thinking of like one of their titles. Yes, I'm going to get hardcore. I am going to review it. In fact, I'm going to bring that up right now so I don't forget, because I have a brain that doesn't work no good.
I do the same thing. I have about 14 tabs open right now for the exact same reason.
No, Massacre Video, I don't want your fucking streaming service. I did the streaming service. I don't need it I'm glad that I bought it for a year. I've yet to actually watch anything, but I'm glad you got money, man. I'm glad you got money with you for your fucking little dinky streaming service. There we go. Okay.
So John says you're his go-to for 70s hardcore knowledge, and I wanted to point out tonight how freaking great that video on corruption was that you did.
Well, thank you. You know what? It's funny. I'm not even like all that knowledgeable when it comes right down to it. Because my problem is I don't have time to watch anything, right. And porn is extra hard because I basically have to watch it in my hot ass office in here. I can't, I think I've watched one porno on my TV ever. Everything else I have to rip to the computer because the Blu-ray player sucks ass that I have on the computer because fucking Windows, and so I rip everything. And then I have to find time to watch it, but I can't really watch it with like my patrons and do like a watch party because that's fucking weird.
Right.
And so it's like this little slender bit of time that I have to watch any hardcore movies, which sucks. I love them, but like I really don't get to watch as many as you would think. But
Same.
Then when I do a video, then I try to watch everything that is pertinent to that and do my research. I still fuck up because I fuck up on everything, but
my wife and both of my kids went somewhere like a year ago, and it was one of those, holy hell, I can finally watch the Blu-ray version of Hot and Saucy Pizza Girls on the TV rather than on some rinky little tiny TV in the back room. And yeah, it was it was decent to be able to finally watch something like that the way it should be rather than huddled in a corner.
Yeah, oh man, I really want to go
I think I
rewatch.
watched it while building IKEA furniture.
Oh, there you go. I love Hot and Saucy Pizza Girls is so good, and it has that great scene where I think it's Lisa DeLu or DeLu, how the fuck is her name?
Yeah.
Just getting like fucked against like I think a window, maybe it's just a wall. In my head, it's a window. It's curtains.
It's
Maybe
the
it's
better
just one of those
plot.
70s walls. I don't know. But either which way, it just sticks. It's one of those things that like it's stuck in my mind. But then the second I open my mouth and try to describe it, immediately gets all fumbled, and it's just like brain juice leaking out and like words forming from like the brain juice spirits into the air. You know that.
Of course. So just like I said, I had a whole bunch of people super stoked that you were going to be on tonight to go over all the announcements. But likewise, I had a small number, but probably 5 or 6 people go, "Who?" And to me, that was shocking because you are.
They should say that. I'm a nobody.
But one of the things is you have a massive fucking camera next to you. What's going on with that thing?
Wait, let me see if I can get it. Fuck, wait a second. Come here, baby. Oh, my fuck. Oh, this is. So this is the camera we're shooting my movie on. My Blackmagic Ursa Mini Pro. It has a needlessly large monitor on it.
It's fucking huge.
Because I was too cheap to buy a viewfinder, and this was like $700 versus like, $1,300 or $1,400 for the viewfinder. And then I immediately realized that I actually didn't need to buy that. Because the other monitor I had to get a monitor with SDI because my other one is only HDMI, and there is no HDMI output for the Blackmagic. And then I realized that the Ninja 5 that I own has a module you can buy for like $100 that makes it SDI compatible. But that was technically on back order, so this is still a better option. Now, but it's so fucking chunky that I'm still going to wind up buying that module so that I don't constantly have an entire flat screen TV in my face. But I recently got my lens that I wanted. Jesus titty. This is my DZO film 20-55 T28 Pictor Zoom.
It's beautiful.
And it's parfocal, which if you don't know what parfocal means, basically it just, I'm gonna actually put this down because it's very heavy. I'm a very weak man. I'm a giant pussy. I'm a giant walking pussy. There we go. But parfocal means that effectively when you zoom in or out, the focus stays the same. Whereas like with a photo lens, if you zoom in and out, the focus changes because the elements are flooping around a bit. And of course, and also with with the photo camera, you don't need you're only doing one shot, so you don't need the focus to stay the same. You just autofocus it, or manual, And I really wanted that because I wanted to pull off some of them sexy Jess Franco style zooms, which ironically most of his zooms do end up out of focus, but that's neither here nor there. So I actually spent a lot of my day today, more than I should have, because I have a lot of going on. Spent a ton of my time using the shims, which actually have some out still. There's these little shims that you, when you're putting it on a new camera, usually it won't be exactly right, and you basically need to calibrate the focus. And so you have to open up the mount where it, where it attaches to the camera, and add shims. We have to do like a bit of math as well, using like a focus chart, or in my case, I have a copy of the Gamera box set back there. That's just so I just use that as my focal point. But that's my camera. I'm really excited to break my wrist while shooting.
That's a new standard that we're using in the filming industry is Gamera. One other thing I wanted to bring up, other than corruption, you put out that Turning Red video yesterday, and
I did, yeah.
I got to admit, and again, this is not just to suck up because you're live. I think that might be one of the best things that you've ever created.
Oh, don't say that. That hurts me.
No, genuinely, because of all of the different focal points that are in it, and it is said in a way, like obviously the comments, there were going to be some idiots, and there are, but it was done in a way that there really should not have been. It was just really persuasive.
I always think that I have my point made, and then someone says something, I'm like, fuck, I guess I didn't really fully get that across, did I? Like I think the gay porn bit kind of came off as like a humble brag or something, and it was just off the top of my head what made sense in the moment. And I think I probably could have. I think I just should have said it differently, and then I should have put more emphasis on how the review that I was reading seemed kind of racist rather than just was. Because like I said it seemed racist or something, or it was maybe racist, and I should have really hammered home it's not necessarily that the writer was racist. It's just the way he wrote it makes it seem like he's, maybe a little teensy bit, not like lynching anybody, but like, kind of a cunt bag, racist.
Yep, that's about what I got out of it.
But yeah, I thought it was fine. I wanted to. I have this problem anytime I try to do a video that is like pertinent to a trending topic. It always comes out like 2 or 3 weeks after that trending topic is done. Like, of course, I didn't even think about it, but of course, when do I put the video out? Directly after the Academy Awards, and no one fucking cares about Turning Red anymore because they're all talking about fucking Will Smith bitch slapping Chris Rock. Right. I just shouldn't have mainstream thing.
Now there's all this drama about did you see that? The Oscars saying that they asked him to leave and he refused. And then other people saying, no, they never asked him. Somebody came up and said, you're fine to stay.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's all, the thing that really bugged me about that whole thing was you had, like, it was like, I didn't watch the show itself, except for like little clips here and there. I just like paid attention to what was winning. And I was like, oh, that's really cool that, this queer actress won. It's really cool that this deaf guy won. I don't remember any of their names. I'm sorry. And it's, and then eventually Best Picture is announced. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's pretty nifty. It's about deaf people. It's the first streaming service to get an Oscar for Best Picture. It's all these like, with the caveat that it is the Oscars and doesn't really matter anymore. It's still cool, like from a historical perspective, like just as a lover of film history, it's all these very big moments. And what's everybody talking about? Fucking Will Smith being a dick. Like, so fucking, I don't know why I even log on to Twitter, honestly.
It's a very fair point. But one of the things that Twitter's good for is sharing announcements. You want to get into some of these again, since you got into a lot of them yesterday?
Sure, yeah. I actually fucked them up too, so that's fine.
So big first ones we got last Friday were the Vinegar Syndrome Flash pre-order announcements and Cloak and Dagger, which a lot of us had guessed was coming. This is the big VSU that we're getting. This is VSU number 3. And I, for one, I love the art on here. What do you think?
I think it looks really good. I know there's a lot of people, including 1 or 2 in my chat, that really don't like it or downright hate it. I guess I can understand that, but I also, maybe my brain's just wired weird. I think like the Miami Connection art that we're going to probably look at in a second looks kind of ugly and just too packed in. Same for like the New York Ninja art, which is not terrible, but also has that very similar, just like everything's packed. It looks like an overdone HDR image. Yep. And it drives me crazy. And so many discs from Vinegar Syndrome especially have that art, and it bugs the fuck out of me. This, it actually, Hunter says it perfectly.
That's why I like it.
Yeah, it's arcade cabinet art. So it fits the film. That's important. Visually, you can tell what the fuck is going on. That's rad. I like that. And it has a nice color scheme. I think it's a very retro color scheme. That green really, especially, kind of makes it pop as an 80, and it's early 80s, right? I'm not crazy. Yeah,
82, I think, or 84. It's right there on the screen. Hello.
Okay. So yeah, like 84. Like it feels 84. It feels like if I jumped into this movie right now, there'd be like an old shag carpet that needs to be ripped up.
Oh yeah.
Wood paneling everywhere. I'm like, where the fuck? What happened? Oh, cocaine. So I think it looks good. I don't understand anybody bitching about it. Yeah.
I think the cool thing about this, comparing to Miami Connection, is that it shows everything that's in the movie still, but it doesn't feel over embellished at all. It feels nicely put together. It doesn't feel like there's too much, even on the back. It doesn't feel like there's too much on the eye that is just holy fuck. Like there's so much on here that I can't even bring the different images apart to see what's here.
Yeah. Also, I really love the explosion, smoke, whatever.
Yep.
Right there on the back. That's pretty great. Also, since this is a VSU, we're gonna get like 15 different artworks. Like,
oh yeah,
it doesn't really matter. Also, it's gonna look, fucking rad, and that's the most important thing. It's gonna be a beautiful restoration of a film from two of the world's greatest director writers. I'm into it, man. I'm feeling it.
Most people know what Cloak and Dagger is, and so we're going to go straight to the extras here. Some cool stuff. Obviously, it's new scan, restored in 4K from the OCN. Commentary track with Tom Holland, moderated by Joe Lynch, exclusive to this release. I thought that was interesting the way they said that, which makes it sound like there is going to be some other impending release.
Yeah.
Then
MVD swoop in.
after this sells 10,000 copies. And then Konami Codes and Cult Classics programming Cloak and Dagger, a brand new extended making of doc featuring interviews with the cast and crew, also exclusive to this VSU release. And then extensive behind the scenes still galleries, TV spots, more exclusive extras to be announced with a 40-page perfect bound book featuring an interview with Tom Holland and an essay by Justin Liberty. This sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a broken record anytime I talk about Vinegar Syndrome titles at this point, because it really just comes to, like, the worst thing I can usually say is like, oh, there's not a lot of extras, I guess.
Right.
Like, especially, and now like they're really stepping up their game. A lot of the like the docs are much longer, and like there was, I don't remember which one it was, but one of these from the new batch is like 45 minutes long or something.
Yeah.
Which is, pretty good. And of course, you got like some really good editors working on the stuff now. Really just top notch.
Is that public knowledge yet?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have on my shelf, I have Beware Children at Play. If you look on the back there, the name of the doc, this is why I don't have kids. That's me. I came up with that. That was literally, I was editing the doc together, and I needed a name for it, and one of the, I think, effects guys dropped that zinger at one point, and I was like, there it is, and I put it in. So yeah, I can never say like what I'm working on in the moment,
of course,
or like really anything until it's announced, but there's some primo shit.
Good to know. And speaking of primo shit, this is the big title for this announcement.
I'm so jealous of whoever got to edit the doc on this one. I am like, as soon as I grab that, I might actually just text Brad, but as soon as I get that in hand, I'm gonna pop it in. I'm not even gonna watch the movie. I'm just gonna straight to the doc. I'm gonna skip everything, just go straight to the credits and see who the fuck edited. And I'm just gonna stare at their name, and it's gonna like imprint in my brain. And then the second I walk past them on the street one day, whip out a katana.
That makes sense.
Fucking. But yeah, this looks great. Thriller. First off, I bet people are going to be real bitchy about that grain structure.
Oh yeah,
because 16 millimeter in 4K, especially something this low budget. Oh boy, that is. That's Grain City, baby. That is
the only thing I will say. Maniac looks pretty damn great in 4K. It's very grain heavy, but it does look really good.
I bet, but there had to be people who complained about that grain as well.
Oh yeah,
that's like obvious. Like, I'm not going to complain about it, but it's just one of those things where I have seen like, oh, it's so noisy.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's not waxed to death like fucking Predator. What the fuck do you want? It's a 16 millimeter movie shot in the 70s. Like, it's gonna look fucking jank.
And it's literally a cult classic that didn't have a massive budget and top tier film.
Yeah. But yeah, oh,
bring him in. Okay.
Do you want a cameo? Do you want a little cameo? Do you want to get on the cameo? Come here, baby.
Say hi real quick.
Come here, baby.
Hi.
Oh, hey, Bubba. Hey, buddy, you need to be asleep. You need to go. Your head's chopped off, buddy. Your head's chopped off. Decency, man. Come on. Do you want a kiss?
No.
You douche. What a jerk. Hey everybody. This is my spawn / CEO. Oh.
Or to get the red 3D T-shirt on too.
He had rocks in the pocket earlier.
You a gross, disgusting man.
Titi-bo.
We're not watching Titi-Po.
But he's not watching. He wants to sing the song.
Oh, Titi-Po, Titi-Po, Titi-Po. He's a train who does stuff. I don't know the freaking song. Titi-Po. Okay, go away.
No more dada.
Bye-bye.
So Thriller, this is the one that Keene was talking about that has a 43 making of documentary featuring narration by the writer-director Bo Arne Vibenius and on-camera interviews with Christina Lindberg, Bo Sonnefeld, Lassie Lundgren, and Gunnar Palm. Lots of stuff on here, and then the big thing, it does say additional extras TBD, and you'll notice there is no commentary here, and I believe on Facebook, La Liberty confirmed one of the extras coming is a commentary.
Ooh, I didn't see that. Fuck yes. Okay, well, package complete.
And the back of this is pretty not safe for YouTube, so I'm gonna go back over here. But that's all right. This looks great, and we're gonna be talking about Thriller a little more in just a little bit for funner reasons. But let's move on to the next one, which I think this got the biggest reaction out of everybody, and that makes sense because I think this is gonna be like the newest Vinegar Syndrome title that everybody is going to point to as, oh, that's what that company is.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like, I mean, I name dropped Raw Force.
Yep.
It's it's that type of, you can't even like, it's just its own genre of movie. It's the kind of movie that Vinegar Syndrome puts out. It's this 80s action sort of disaster, but in the best possible way. Full of memorable dialogue, things you want to just, quote every day of your life. A song that's such an earworm, it might actually be a literal alien worm digging into your fucking skull. Yeah, I like, if they had not announced Thriller previously, then that would probably be the big one still. But this was like a nice little coup. Like, I love that they built up to the Flash presale with Thriller. And you're like, oh, fuck. Okay, this is the big one. Fucking Thriller, dog. Okay, let's have it. Boom. Miami Connection. Suck a dick. Suddenly, it's such a great like 1-2 punch. And they both overshadow fucking Cloak and Dagger. Like, it's such a like beautiful presentation. And then we still have what,
two mystery titles.
Is it 2 mystery titles plus the horror high? Yep.
And we're going to talk about that one in just a second. But yeah, this is wild. And then I believe I think I talked about this on Tuesday or something on another show, but I believe this is one that we had been told the original elements were destroyed in Hurricane Sandy. So there was no way that this was ever going to go beyond the Draft House version. And then they sort of dropped a teaser, like 3 weeks ago in one of their emails that they sent out, saying that one of the titles was going to have recently discovered elements. And one of the things they have here is exclusively restored in 4K from recently unearthed negative materials and loaded with plentiful archival and newly shot extras. Plus, this edition includes the world home video debut of its long-lost pre-release version, Escape from Miami, which, features numerous additional and extended scenes, as well as a completely different ending. This is like a gift of a release.
It's a lot. Yeah, I was legitimately shocked when I saw it. I'm really sad I couldn't have covered this live, like when it actually dropped, because like in that moment I was just like, oh fuck, man, fuck, like fuck.
This is a big deal title.
Ain't fucking around here.
And this is the art that we were talking about. That is, obviously the back is pretty decent. I like that they went a completely different route. But yeah, this looks just like New York Ninja. Obviously the same artist, and it's wild. It is packed full on every square inch of this thing.
Yeah,
So
I have
much
New York
going
Ninja back here, and looking at it, this is better. I like the colors more here. I like that it's got
Yep.
that kind of deep blue, and it's punctuated by that kind of I don't know, brownish skin tone that everybody has. I think it pops a little bit better. And I think that I can't remember the fucking character's name, but the central guy in the center kind of he's differentiated enough, but it's still, yeah, really jam packed, just assaulting your fucking face holes. And I don't know, that just doesn't like. I like the Sound Dragon one on the back looks great. The Dragon Sound or Sound Dragon?
I think it's Dragon Sound.
It's Dragon Sound. It's
25th anniversary Dragon Sound reunion concert. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I haven't watched this movie since I was like in my early 20s, which was now a long time ago. Yeah, I love that back art quite a bit. That's great.
And then this is just as loaded as those other ones. Like we just said, it's got a different version that's ever been released. Brand new 4K restoration. This is a 4K and 2 Blu-ray disc set, so 3 discs total. Resurrecting the Dragon, a looking back at Miami connection again. A new extensive and exclusive making of doc featuring all new interviews with cast and crew, some of which have never been interviewed before. Feature-length audio commentary with star producer YK Kim and writer-star Joseph Diamond. The Making of Miami Connection, 25th anniversary, new anniversary dream archival YK Kim promo video, which is 22 minutes long, which holy hell. And then Who is YK Kim? That's another 2 minutes. It's got everything on here. This is a massive release.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say. It's just, yeah, it's I think the fact that I love that they like, I don't know what the behind the scenes is as far as like how they found the elements, what like how they wound up getting, like why Draft House didn't retain the rights, anything like that. But like the fact that they looked at all that and said, okay, this isn't enough, we have to go fucking hardcore with this release,
right?
Is it shows you kind of the difference with Vinegar. Like, I'm not saying Vinegar Syndrome is the best company out there releasing movies on Blu-ray, but as far as boutiques go, like if you're gonna do one of those fucking tier lists, like they're definitely in the S tier with a few others.
For sure.
And this is one of the reasons why, is they have just this profound respect for every piece of material, and then when something big comes, they don't fuck around. They don't, because like you could release this on 4K and not really add anything new to the
package. They could do nothing. That would be
people
enough.
Would buy it's a guaranteed seller. Like there's no way this isn't going to sell well. And kind of the same thing with Thriller. You don't really have to do much to move units except for put together a nice restoration. That's it. But then they fucking go ahead and they bring in world-class editors to do stuff, for the special features and stuff like that. So it's, pretty fuckity rad.
I don't know if you have any sway, which you probably don't, but I'll just put this out into the ether. I really wish that on every single release, especially for the big stuff like this, I wish we had La Liberty on camera, 5 minutes, telling us the story behind the restoration, where they found the elements, how it got there, and just short and sweet, just to explain. I mean, it's Vinegar Syndrome. It's an archival company to begin with. That would be fucking incredible.
I have had that exact thought. I don't have any sway, but that is something that I would love to. I might actually text Brad and just be like, "Hey, could you, like, has this ever come up, man? Like maybe Justin just doesn't want to be on camera a bunch. Maybe, like, I feel like they must have thought of that at some point, right? Like, it seems obvious to me."
For some of the big ones that they talk about unearthed titles like this, it would just be perfect.
Yeah. I would love to hear the story behind every single release. 100%. That's actually, what they need to do. And if anybody from Vinegar Syndrome is listening right now, for all the past releases, like, just put on YouTube, on your fucking YouTube channel, just little, like, go to the archive, get a night, get your camera set up with all them fucking canisters in the background, you know? Maybe if it's I don't remember what it looks like, but like, you know, like maybe you have like a hall of canisters, right? And you just sit yourself right there in the middle, you know, nice and centered. Yeah, it's just like fucking angel wings of Grindhouse classics to either side, and fucking just give us that 5-minute spiel, and just pop that up and say the story, but you know, the story behind the fuckity Fade to Black restoration. Here's how we got the elements. This is what we did. You know, just fucking pop it in there. Say, you know, it was really a challenge to get the dick stains off the elements, but we did it using Lysol made by NASA or whatever. You know, just like give us some short deets, because we're fucking nerdlings. You know, we like
Absolutely
innocuous bullshit. Like, just give it to us.
I can't remember which release it was, but I think it was Brad. It might have been Little Liberty, but one of them went online and they were basically just hyping up that they were putting it out, and they said something like, "I remember the day I got the text about this, that somebody said, 'Hey, I see these old canisters in the dumpster, just letting you know if you want them, they're available.'" And they went and picked it up, and it was something they ended up releasing. How does that not sell the company for you? Right.
There? Yeah. I mean, they like it. Really, it's almost it's impressive how much the name and the company fit together, and how much it just all work. Because like, I can just like, I feel like there's probably thousands of potential multiversal variants or whatever of these guys who do not actually give a shit. Right. Who are just like, we're gonna like, oh yeah, Venegas syndrome, like the thing what happens to film, and we're putting films out. We're gonna make these fucking idiots think we give a shit. And then they, you know, they just pop them out and they do like, you know, maybe a podcast commentary and a 1-minute introduction by a local milkman or something. But then they fucking, you know, put together these amazing packages, and I'm just like, oh, give me daddy, oh yeah, fucking, I'll put it in me, oh, my eye holes,
every single month.
Yeah, and every month, Jesus fuck, like I can't even imagine. I cannot fucking imagine. Like I've heard stories that I can't repeat, and it boggles my fucking brain that how they're able to pull off a monthly slate. Just like,
and not only that, plan ahead so they can say, you know, for the next year, we're going to guess that our entire slate is going to be worth about this much, and offer a fucking subscription. Yeah. No other company can truly do it like this.
Oh, and actually, John mentioned they should do a monthly podcast like Severin does. Yeah, actually, like, I mean, you know, I feel like they wouldn't, just because everybody else is doing it. I feel like they do have like that slight hipster thing going on, where it's like, well, or, you know, Severin's doing it, we're not going to do it. But out of all the companies, like, I would love to hear that shit. Oh man. Oh, yeah.
Well, enough gargling on vinegar syndrome. Just kidding. There's some more here. So one of the things that we alluded to earlier, they kind of let us in on something here. They said, coming in May as part of the Drive-In collection, but now in Blu-ray, Horror High and Stanley. And to celebrate our 10th year, we've revived our much-loved Drive-In collection, updating it from DVD to Blu, and presenting the world Blu-ray debuts of two quintessential films from the heyday of outdoor cinemas. Horror High and Stanley are both coming. One of these is Larry Stouffer. The other one is the one that Arrow milked last year, William Greffet. I think that's how you say that. And both are sourced from stunning new 2K restorations. They're pleased to confirm that the addition of Horror High represents the world home video debut of its fully uncut and extra gory original version, with numerous instances of long censored carnage fully intact.
And I made a fucking idiot of myself when I talked about this one, because I went to I hadn't actually looked at that release at all before I went live. I just had seen it as part of the package, but I hadn't like read all the details.
Right.
And I every so often I'll not realize that Vinegar Syndrome released something as part of their, you know, drive-in collection or Peakorama or whatever. And I thought that these were re-releases because I don't have reading comprehension skills. And but I've seen Stanley. Stanley's really good. It's very similar to oh shoot, is that William Griffey? Yeah, the oh fuck, Sting of Death. Is that right?
Yep.
It's very similar to Sting of Death. I mean, minus the whole fucking jellyfish angle, but similar plot structure. If I remember correctly, I saw it in like an old, 157 horror movies that you have to see now. Box
Released
set,
from Mill Creek in 2008.
Yeah. But I have never seen Horror High. I don't know how. I've never gotten around to it. So I guess I will now.
I have gotten a lot of comments about their double features lately. What do you feel about them?
Well, on the one, so I'm of two minds. One, the positive mind is, well, John said, isn't it Willard with snakes? Yes, it is essentially Willard with snakes. That is, yeah. That is a better way to put it. I don't know why I went with Sting of Death. That's my go-to. It's like this is slightly tangential, but I have a review of Touch of Genie coming up this week, and I referenced that it reminded me of Evil Bong, and they have nothing in common except both of them utilize like 2 locations for their entire runtime.
I mean, that's enough, yeah.
And Evil Bong kind of acts like a genie type figure in the way that it works. But there's no it's literally just that. And for some reason, I kept that in the fucking video. I felt like a fucking moron when I was editing it. Anyway, but so my positive mindset for the double features is, as a subscriber, I'm getting even more bang for my buck. So that's rad me.
Right.
And actually, side note to that, if they put out something that I don't give a fuck about, like Slaughterhouse Rock, well, that's okay, because there's another better movie on the same or in the same packaging.
Right.
So it kind of works out for me. But on the other hand, I really don't like buying double features very much, because unless if it's like a drive-in collection thing, it kind of works out, because then I can just put it in the drive-in collection area on my. This is such a stupid fucking Blu-ray.
No, I get it fully.
But all my Pikaramas are together as Pikaramas. All my driving collection ones are in the driving collection.
Yeah.
But if I just have this movie and also it has this movie and it's a double feature, but it's not under some sort of name.
Right.
And it's like, well, I guess I put it on whichever one is the better. I don't know. What do I do here? So I kind of just arbitrarily decide, well, that's the headlining picture. So that's where it goes. And that kind of irks me on like a stupid Blu-ray lover, OCD thing front.
Right.
But I think overall the value outweighs things. And so far, most of the double features have been that case of well, there's this movie I really want. And then there's this other thing that is there. So
that's, I think March pissed off some people, and I was totally fine with it, because we got X-Ray and Schizoid both on 4K, and yes, we had both of those on Blu-ray previously, but now they're in 4K, and now you don't have to buy 2 different titles. They're both an upgrade.
Also, I specifically refused to buy the Shout Factory release, so this worked out really well for me.
Nice. And then just like that, when Slaughterhouse Rock was, it's going to be a decent upgrade, but I bet if it wasn't packaged with something else, it probably would have sold a lot less.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing is, they're dealing with a lot of rights.
Yep.
I think that people don't really take into consideration contractual obligations with these titles. I don't know, I don't get any of this information. All I get is the things that I am given to edit. That's it. And sometimes I hear about stuff I can't talk about, but very rare. It's mostly just the stuff I get. So I don't fucking know what the deal was with X-Ray and Schizoid. I am assuming that there was a contractual obligation to release them together, or it came down to just financially, why the fuck would you put them separately?
Right.
Because they really they've already been released on Blu-ray as a double feature, and they're not beloved titles by anyone. I don't think. So it does feel like you're getting something more by it being 2 titles, while also just getting 2 movies that most people fucking don't like. So,
and clearly the licensor had those together. That's how
Yeah.
it's always going to be, no matter what.
That's what it feels like. Like there's a chance that's not the case, but it seems really suspect that of all the double features, that's the one that both companies put out. Like
Exactly.
it's a little weird.
I fully agree. Is that it for Vinegar? Nope, that's not even it for Vinegar Syndrome. So they went into giving us a little bit more of a hint for what else is coming in May, and they said, so you're not impressed by thriller? We always try to save the weirdest, wildest, rarest, and/or most head-spinning flicks for the secret titles. So as always, we've prepared a doozy. First up, making its worldwide Blu-ray debut from a stunning new 4K from the OCN is a grim, grimy, and gruesome indie monster movie featuring a very peeved creature stalking sunny SoCal. This took a lot of wrangling to get right, and we couldn't be happier to give it new life. And then, if you're starved for a helping of Only in the 80s insanity, you will no doubt fall head over heels for the star-studded oddity with a typically off-the-wall premise that's been causing jaws to drop for nearly 40 years. And I believe I know one of these titles, so I won't mention any guesses. But there's a lot of people that are guessing a handful of things. And yeah, we'll just move on from that one.
That's a good idea, yeah.
Speculate as you will.
Yeah.
Did you see that there is this new label coming up?
No, what?
In Australia, Chameleon Film.
I did. I heard about Chameleon. I didn't look into their first release though.
So this is actually Spy number 2.
Oh my
They have
God.
announced 3 now. I think we're going to get into the third one in just a second. But they are putting out Summertime Machine Blues from 2005 from Japan. I have never seen this one. Have you?
No, I have no idea.
I've heard of this. And the type of releases they're doing, they do have a first pressing collector's booklet with the new essay, original audio commentary by the director, a new interview with the writer, and then some archival extras. And they are doing a Scanovo case, numbered sleeve, all that good stuff with it. And it should be released in June or July. The only main thing that is different from the other Australian boutiques, they are saying that these are mostly going to be Region B locked. And usually Australian titles, most of the time, based on their laws, are almost always region free. So that's the only oddity I've seen so far.
Well, luckily, got myself a region-free player, so it looks like I'll be this. You know what? I've talked about this a few times. I love that we live in a time where like just any movie can get the fucking sexiest treatment possible. And it leads to so many great discoveries. It also really, leads to a lot of letdowns. But I think I'm rarely a glass half full kind of guy. But when it comes to boutique Blu-ray companies and their releases, I'm always a glass half full. Like it's amazing to me that because like I've never fucking heard of this movie. Maybe it's a cult classic. I don't know. I love Japanese movies. It's not like my milieu. But this seems really cool. Like I'm very curious. So they've announced their first 3. Is that right?
First 3, yep.
And
they're all coming out around June or July.
Okay. All right. It looks like I'm gonna have to make room on the show. See, that's Chameleons. That's a C. Where would that go? Fucking shit.
Right before Criterion and Code Red.
Yeah, I'll just take all the Code Reds and throw them in the trash and put these there. That's fine.
After all the Vinegar Syndrome upgrades, that's basically what's happening. And not to pimp my own stuff too much, but you mentioned region free. I did put out a recommendation video for region free 4K players today, so give that a watch if you have not yet.
Watch it, pussies.
You talked about the indicator sale. What'd you think of the sale this time around?
I think it cost me a lot of money. It's indicator sales. They're not like they're basically always the same thing with like a few additions.
Right.
I like that there's a limited edition postcard pack, I guess. I'm assuming that ships automatically. I didn't actually
included with all purchases over 50 pounds.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna get those. Awesome. I got more things to put in a drawer. All right. Look at this guy. He's got 2 thumbs and a lot of space to fill.
I use my picnic basket from Severin for all those things.
Oh, that's great. Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's a perfect. Oh my God. You hear that? You have a purpose. Cool. Yeah, I bought a few things. Actually, I can probably bring up Just
Indicator sales still on till tomorrow midday in the UK, and they're odd. I don't know. Does it say? Let's see.
oh fuck! I don't remember where my thing is.
They say things like the sale goes until April 1st around lunch, and then when they feel like it, they turn off the sale.
That's fucking funny. Man, I suck at words on phones. Oh, right, because you have to search powerhouse. God damn it! I hate. Like, just call yourselves Indicator.
Right.
Don't like. No one says Powerhouse Films. I don't actually know where my email is for this. I'm assuming that I got everything I needed. But I got the Columbia Noir sets. I got Corruption. I got some other. I got a few limiteds and I think 1 or 2 standards. Because I'm a sad man. I don't have any time to watch these things, but I sure do buy a lot of them.
Amen to that.
I actually got my credit card company was like, we're locking your card because of unusual activity. And I was like, guys,
you know me.
Purchase. Like, what are we doing here? It was probably because I immediately did the Diabolic order.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Diabolic, a lot of people are shopping at Diabolic for this specific title because Arrow had announcements last Friday as well. And the big one, I'm not going to dive too deep into this because we've gone over this already, but they're putting out True Romance in 4K in the States. That's the only main difference. The other one was in the UK. This is in the US. Everything is identical, including the 4 different releases.
Yeah, I mistakenly, in my coverage, I said these, I assumed that these were the generic, the non-limited, the standard editions, because I'm at a point where I don't even consider international like region B's as anything more than just another. Especially, I mean, it's a 4K, so like really, come on, who gives a shit? But I just in my brain fritzed and was like, well, it has to be the standard because what else would they fucking release? I keep forgetting about their whole region A, push now.
Well, and usually it's released in both regions at the same time if they can.
This is fun. That's funny.
Cindy Arcadia says my credit card got locked for my Michael Keene Patreon fee. I swear to God. Speaking of his Patreon, there is a link in the description below for his Patreon. If you want to go to his channel and support him every month because he does great stuff, please do.
Hey, yeah, give me money. I love money. I love money so much. Oh, got my little nipples. I'm just like, money. Oh, coins.
Speaking of nipples, we know Keene loves Anthony Perkins. They're putting out Edge of Sanity. And...
yeah, I've never seen it. I mentioned it before. Like Anthony Perkins, just his post-psycho career just makes me like weirdly sad, and not in like he did bad work kind of. Like he did great work, but like there's just something about it that kind of like bums me out because I feel like he got like his whole career got changed to he was the psycho guy,
right?
And he was such a great actor and put in so many powerhouse performances that it just kind of like. I mean, on the one hand, cool that we got a lot of horror movies starring Anthony Perkins, but on the other hand, we could have gotten so much more, which sounds a little snobby, I guess. But this might be great. I don't know. As you said, I haven't watched it, but I've seen it. I've seen the poster a million times, and I've come close to watching it a lot. So maybe I should. I don't know. Have you seen it?
I have not seen this one, but importantly, this is another Shout Factory re-release. This is one that had come out from them previously.
Right, that's why it looked okay. I in my head, I was like, I thought we had this before, but
this had been on one of their double features. But this is a new 2K restoration from the 35 mil, and let's see, new audio commentary by David Flint and Sean Hogan. Over the Edge, brand new interview with Stephen Thrower, who did Nightmare USA, of course. New interview with Dr. Claire Smith, author of Jack the Ripper in Film and Culture.
When they fucking throw a Stephen Thrower extra in there,
it makes it difficult to pass by.
I can't walk for days after I hear about that news.
Stephen Thrower is a man that is magical, and I think Who was it? I think it was Kat Ellinger that you brought up that said every time you see a commentary by her, it's a must buy.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call it if it was a must buy, I would buy literally every Blu-ray ever produced. But yeah, I mean, she is great, and actually, I give to her Patreon, and I don't actually like ever have time to like read or listen to anything she puts out, but I give to it. And Flickering Webs, that's a Crimes of Passion and Edge of Sanity double like video essay thing would be a really good idea. Now I'm thinking about it.
Crimes of Passion is really good. And it's, it's funny you brought that up about Perkins, and I saw you brought it up on Quadruple BN yesterday, but his even like the Psycho sequels, there's something about his performances that I always feel like the word lonely comes to mind.
Yeah, that's a very appropriate word for it. Yeah.
It feels like somebody that was sent to the corner, and then we're only going to bring him back to do something that we're forcing him to do, and then when you're done, just go right back over there.
Yeah, and I mean he did great work after Psycho. Like I don't want my words to be misconstrued. Did plenty of great work,
of course.
And I'm sure I don't have the list on me, but I'm sure that he did plenty of things that he was proud of and everything. But again, it's just one of those things where stuff like this just screams, we're going to get that Psycho money. And
right.
There's not necessarily anything horribly wrong about that. It's just for my brain, it weirds me out. Yeah, I have this awful need to like reinforce that everything's just an opinion, even though that should be obvious. Like I don't like it's funny, like YouTube comments have like fucked up the way my brain reacts to any sort of opinion.
It's clearly not just you, as it is constantly swaying elections and everything else. Moving to the next one, before that gets awkward, the initiation of Sarah, coming on June 21st. I knew literally nothing about this before this got announced.
Yeah, basically same. I had heard about it in some capacity. I don't even remember what it was. Like it's one of the, when like you definitely read about something in depth in like an article at some point, and you cannot for the fucking life of you pin down where it is. I had read about it somewhere, but I've never seen it. A lot of those this month. I'm sorry, I just haven't I just haven't watched a lot of shit.
Lately, when there's a title like this and it just kind of does that spring in my mind where I know it's there, I come back later and I realize, shit, that was mentioned in Nightmare USA. And it's something that I go back to and it's like, oh yeah, Stephen Throwers told me years ago that I needed to watch this.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You ever get the feeling like, I don't know if you have this problem. Sometimes I'll look at my Letterboxd and I'll see like, oh yeah, I've watched 4,000 some odd whatever number of movies. And then I think about like all the times during a stream, I'll go, haven't seen that. And it just makes me so frustrated. So like, when's it enough? When have I become an expert? When have I watched enough, Mom?
That and I mean, you're going through a similar thing right now. I'm just counting down the days where, first of all, I don't have to care for my kids every waking moment. Yeah. And second of all, I can have them watch some of these with me. And
that's it right there.
Not only, showing them things that are, like recently I've got a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old and they both love dinosaurs and they don't get scared of things very much. So I said, hey, they can handle Jurassic Park, right? And showed them Jurassic Park and they fucking loved it. But obviously a lot of these are very inappropriate for a 5 and 7-year-old.
Yeah,
so
my wife says I can't show my son RoboCop when he's 6, like I got to see, and I still struggle with that every day.
I had the same conversation about my kids turning 8 and the movie Halloween.
Fucking wives. Ridiculous.
Can't
trying
live
to
with
protect their children. Pieces of shit.
I'll just throw out real quick, won't really focus on it, but I had a merch sale this week on new stuff that I put up, and this is my favorite shirt I made. It says Live, Laugh, Lenzy, and I've got a 10% off sale going through tonight at midnight. If you're interested, there is a handful of new designs up there, but yeah, don't want to hawk that too much. Fassbender Volume 3 is coming out. You seem to be excited about this one.
Yeah, we'll see. If my only problem with the Fassbender sets is I feel like Criterion, like every other month, has like every Fassbender.
Yep.
So it's my only issue is like I mean, like I do want to buy them, but on the other hand, I could just stream most of them at any point. And they are fucking big ass box sets.
They're massive.
But on the other hand, I don't even think I might own like one Fassbender title, so it would make sense for me to buy these sets.
Right.
Beyond the whole, again, almost all of them are streaming somewhere at some point, which as much as I advocate physical media, I also have very limited shelf space. So I'm more than okay streaming things. My general rule is if I know it's something that I can use in a video, then I'll buy it so that I can rip it. But if I don't think I'll use it, then that's the point where I'm like, okay, is it streaming? Is it something that streams often? Can I watch it that way? And then of course also how much do I like it? So right. with Fassbender, I do like Fassbender a lot. And sometimes I do think to myself, I could do videos at least referencing Fassbender. I don't know what I would say about him as a filmmaker because it's Fassbender.
He did a lot of shit too.
So I don't know, but yeah.
Well, this is the third one, and this is coming out June 13th, and it's got The American Soldier, The Niklaschen Journey, Gods of the Plague, Rio das Mortes, Mother Custer Goes to Heaven, Fear of Fear, and Satan's Brew. And it says high-definition digital transfers of a bunch of them, and then it specifically says high-definition 1080p Blu-ray presentations of The American Soldier, Gods of the Plague, Mother Custer, and Satan's Brew. But the big thing, exclusive 140-page collector's booklet containing archive articles and new writing, subtitles, and tons of extras for almost every single film.
Yeah, I think I'll probably, once the next sale comes around, that's when I'll probably snag it. I'm doing my best to not spend too much money. It's really hard. It's really hard. Oh, yeah. It's such a fucking challenge. Like, it shouldn't be. It's such a fucking stupid problem to have. But, I get like one job and I'm like, all right, how much of this can I put towards my fucking addiction? It's awful.
It is rough.
German Takashi Miike. That's such a good description of Fassbender. Although, I mean, didn't work himself with drugs to death, but
that's true.
This one fucking, so when I saw that they were releasing Demonia, my first reaction was, awesome, I don't have to buy it because I already have the 7 release. And then,
unfortunately, down here, let's see, Disc 2, Fulci Talks, a feature-length 2021 documentary by filmmaker Antoinetta De Lillo, based on an in-depth career-spanning video interview with Lucio Fulci from 1993, conducted by De Lillo and critic Marcello Garofalo. And that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I gotta buy it. That's how I'm gonna wait for a sale because I don't desperately. I mean, I do kind of desperately need it, but I really want to watch that doc.
Yep.
So gonna need that. I need to pick that little sucker up.
The art on this looks freaking great. I love what they did on the front of that.
Yeah, everything about it looks beautiful. It looks fucking rad. I wish it was a 4K. That's my only real, especially since, like, let's be honest, they'll release a 4K.
Possibly, especially, well, it's also from the Severin scan, so I wouldn't be surprised if they work together to do it soon. Just like they did with Don't Go in the House.
Yeah, fucking fucks. Yeah, I guess, yeah, because I mean, I don't need when it does eventually happen in like 2025, I don't need a 4K of Demonia. It's fucking Demonia. It's it's Fulci, therefore it's part of the canon. You got to watch it, but it's like mid-tier Fulci. It's got some cool stuff. It's got some less cool stuff. It's got some questionable lens filters at some points.
Well, it's a very late Fulci. It's 90.
It is very late Fulci, yeah. I would say out of his late stuff, it's one of the better ones, but it's it's got a great deli sequence in it. Got enough nun stuff, not as much nun stuff as you'd expect, but a fair amount of nun stuff.
Especially when they lean into that for the art.
Yeah,
and so did Severin.
Yeah, when I first went to watch it, I thought that I was getting like straight up just like wall to wall nunsploitation. And I was surprised that was not the case, and I was pleasantly surprised because nunsploitation, great idea, often very boring. So, but Demonia, not a boring film, just kind of a mishmash.
One qualm I have with this, I fucking hate the fold-out packaging shit, like Citizen Kane.
Oh yeah. That I didn't even look at that. That's a good point. Yeah, I'm not a fan. There's like, guys, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm all for like fun packaging ideas, but like really just a case that snaps. That's all you need. You just need a case that snaps.
Yep.
Maybe it's a case that snaps inside of a piece of cardboard that's inside of a box that in turn has a magnetic clasp. A little overdone, but at the end of the day, at the core, you've got that little snappy snap. And I don't like Criterion does that fucking stupid thing with the that like minimalist packaging where like you open it up and the booklet falls out and you're just like, what the fuck? Oh shit. It drives me fucking crazy. And yeah, I don't hate it, like the Citizen Kane packaging and the Demonia packaging. I don't, it's not something that like drives me up the wall, but it is one of those moments where I'm like, you could have not done that. I would have been cool with you not doing it. So
fun looking release. And then they are also doing this, of course, Zavvi exclusive steelbook for Tremors. This is 4K steelbook, new art, nothing else brand new, but it's there. And the art's by Gary Pullen, which a lot of us know and love. Good stuff.
Yeah,
love
great artist, cool art. I won't buy it, but it's cool.
No. Also, fuck Zavvi.
Yeah.
Then Vinegar Syndrome. I'm curious to see what you think on this. They came out on Friday and said the 4K disc of They Call Her One Eye, the alt cut of Thriller, is exclusive to the deluxe edition, and it's already more than halfway sold out. Get it now if you want it. And yeah, that kind of surprised me, especially when they never announced a stock number of how many they were going to have.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I don't quite understand why that is. I'm assuming they might not have it down. Well, I was going to say they might not have like an exact number yet, but I mean, they did say it's, there's certain chunks sold out. So
right.
I'm assuming that maybe they are saving that for the actual release, like once it's actually out. I don't know. Nothing that's coming up in my head really makes any good sense, because it seems like having that number there would help move units.
Absolutely.
So I don't know what the fucking deal is.
But then also this probably means that there is, well, first of all, you're guaranteed to have a standard release come after, and it will clearly be at least 3 discs, not 4 though. So
yeah, I mean, you got to move units. You got to give some incentive. You got to add some cheddar.
Well, and 4K discs are fucking expensive. So
yeah.
Of course, at least once a week. Got to do that.
I love your how you use your Instagram, by the way.
Thanks.
This is a much more economical way of doing it.
You mean the 43 tabs that you have opened isn't good to report the news? We were talking about Chameleon. This is Spine 3. This is Exiled from Johnny Toe from 2006. Same sort of things, exclusive special features. They've got that booklet in here with new essays by Stephen Teo and Dylan Chung. New audio commentary by Frank Jang, friend of the channel. He's been on with us before. And then The Weight of Honor, a new video essay on Exiled. Newly translated and improved optional English subs with a whole bunch of archival extras. And this label's looking pretty damn decent already.
Yeah, I mean, again, I haven't watched this movie, don't know anything about it, but they're selling me. They're selling me. Like, I definitely, kind of like with Cauldron, I'll be there for the initial launch, and I will see what they do. Or like Error 44s. I'm, very intrigued. I was happy with their first release. Excited for eventually getting the next one, whenever the fuck that happens.
It is tough to have both of your first 2 releases get delayed.
Yeah. And honestly, bad time to start.
That's very, very true.
But I guess as long as you eventually get them out and they are good releases, I guess that kind of a few years down the line, it all kind of works itself out.
Right. Speaking of bad time to start things, I guess I'll bring up, because I haven't heard you mention it. Not sure if you know about it. When I had Jared on the channel, he mentioned that he and Jesse from Diabolic are starting a sub-label. Did you hear about this?
No.
So he was saying it should be coming out under Cauldron, but it will be a separate line. And they're going to be releasing trashy Asian action films.
Huh.
With
Asian
Jared Honor and Jesse working together on a label themselves.
I mean, ballsy to do a sub label for your label that's already super late after just starting. Like, sure, why not? But I mean, that is really exciting.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, all those words appeal to me, so that's rad. I am a little like, there is that element of like already kind of big for your britches,
right,
to it, but also like they have garnered quite a bit of goodwill. So I can't really. Another thing, I hadn't thought about this until just recently. I started, and this is way behind, but I wanted to do a podcast with my wife for patrons, where we go through all the Vinegar Syndrome releases, and we're still working on the first one because my mom was in town for 2 months, and so we could not find time to watch the third film on the
Herschel Gordon Lewis.
Yeah, because it was like, this is just porn. How do we do this? And so we haven't gone around, and now now I'm like super busy. I've been editing all week, and it's like, I just want to watch this porno with my wife. But they had that one release. It was like their second or third release that had a massive to-do, like huge legal issue. Yep. And so it immediately got scrapped, and I think a few people got it, and now it's like super expensive. And but that's a good like reminder whenever we do criticize these newer labels. Cauldron's late, Error 44s is late. This one will probably have a problem. They all, like, every label has an issue at some point, because that's just part of the business. And like, it would be easier for me to say, these fucking idiots don't know what the fuck they're doing. But the reality is, not only do they know what they're doing, but they all deal with the same insane bullshit and jump through 1,000 hoops that if we had to, we would just turn the fucking gun on ourselves in that moment. I just realized I make a lot of suicide jokes when I'm just run off the cuff.
As long as they keep coming, that means it's fine.
Yeah, just keep on coming. Yeah, but yeah, I'm excited.
Next up, Sergeant Riker from Keene, coming from 1968. I know nothing about this. Let's go to the next one. This one actually is kind of exciting. Anime Wong collection coming from Keene. This is another one. They have no date or anything like that. They just wanted to announce it. This is going to include Dangerous to Know from 1938, King of Chinatown from 39, and Island of Lost Men also from 39. And all of these have brand new 2K masters. Keene has just been hit after hit after hit for the most part. And then they release so many damn titles that, every 4 discs are just kind of meh, but everything's great.
Yeah, Keene's they do release some unfortunate ones, but their win ratio is pretty hardcore. That was another sale where, even though they have like 87 sales a year, I was like, oh fuck, I made a cart, and my initial cart was like $1,500.
Holy fuck.
And I was still, I was primarily doing like the, $7, $8, $9
right
blues, and I managed to get it down to around the 200 rate. I don't remember exactly what I wound up with. I remember it had to be like around 200, but it was like a fucking trial by fire. because I wanted everything. Because there's so many interesting little oddities. And I remember looking this up, and I think I actually had it in my notes, and I forgot to make a tab for it. Because I do my show's a caveman show. I do everything like a caveman. But I was surprised. I don't think I've ever actually seen an Anime Wong film. So suddenly I have this whole this whole actor's filmography that I need to take a look at. So this is perfect. I will wait for a sale because Jesus Christ. Come on, guys. So many fucking when you like every company these days is just like knocking them out of the park.
Right.
I don't know what the fuck to do.
Well, and then the hard part, that Kino sale, it was first off, it was their first sale in like 3.5 months. So with Kino, that's like a really rare desert of nothing for a while. But on top of that, it was no sales from any boutiques for literally about 2 months, and then suddenly every boutique had a sale all in one week. And there's a couple small boys like Cinema Classics had an unearthed film sale, and I talked to the guy from Cinema Classics, and he's like, nobody is shopping. I'm like, well, Warner Archive had their first sale in a year. Kino just had their first sale.
Yeah, bad time.
Yeah, real bad time. And then he was like, well, when's a good time? And I mean, come on, just pay attention when there's not other stuff going on. That's going to be a lot better. You're going to get a lot more headlines.
Yeah, straight up. Also, let's be honest, like it's an unearthed sale. It's
right. It's never going to be a Kino sale.
Like I like unearthed, but that's a niche brand if there is one.
Absolutely. Let's move on from there.
Fuck these guys. Fuck them so hard. God damn it.
Out of the Blue, they're saying by popular demand, the producers of Out of the Blue 4K Remastered were inundated with requests for a UHD release with HDR color in addition to the formerly announced Blu-ray. The HDR color correction was just completed and approved this week, sent for UHD authoring, and they are offering the people that had ordered the Blu-ray an upgrade, but you can also order the 4K now.
Yeah, so a patron of mine who sends me a lot of great stuff. Do we do because you mentioned this before, and do you do like pickups and stuff like hauls?
Yeah, we're gonna do that after the announcements.
Okay, so you'll see in a second some of the stuff this guy sent me, they sent me Out of the Blue, the BFI Blu-ray, and I was so happy when I saw that Severin was releasing Out of the Blue, but it was effectively the exact same package,
right?
And so I didn't, I was like, all right, I don't have to spend money on this. Amazing. I already have this amazing film that blew my fucking mind when I watched it. This classic piece of cinematic history. It's already mine. I don't need to spend any more money. It's fine. It's cool. It's great. And then 4K. Fucking pissed me off.
Yeah. But at least this is, as far as I'm aware, I think this is the second time that we are, as collectors, given the opportunity to upgrade a copy rather than buy something outright. The other one being the I Spit on Your Grave 4K from Ronin Flicks.
Yeah.
I think this is really neat that they did this for people, especially that they allowed it before it released. Otherwise, that would have been a pretty big slap in the face.
Yeah, I can imagine the boys at Severin like, oh, we don't need this PR nightmare. Oh, right. No, let's just get this out of the way. Come on, guys. Because any company, they get the most ridiculous amount of shit. It's really staggering.
Some of it warranted, but a lot of it is not.
Warranted to a degree, yeah. Like I think even I went a little far when I got really shitty with oh god, I lost his name, and I've been in the same room with him so many times. But anyway, I got really shitty with that whole like Facebook fiasco a while back.
Yep.
And on the one hand, like a certain degree of it was warranted, but I think that myself and many others went a little bit too far with it, and a lot of people went way further.
Oh yeah,
and they again, like once you actually you meet these people and you see what all they have to deal with on a daily basis, you get a lot more sympathy for their situation. And for Severin, I feel so bad. Like anytime something goes wrong, I feel really bad for them. There are times where I'm like, come on, guys. Like their website drives me fucking crazy because
that is the main thing I was talking about. That's warranted.
The website drives me fucking nuts. Like I'm not going to say anything like super negative, like you should fire everybody, blah, 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 blah. But it is one of those things where I'm like, come on.
The negativity in the community is one thing I talked about with Jared as well. He had God, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago. He had somebody literally death threats over a late package.
Stupid. So stupid.
I don't understand it. Do not get it. Moving on though. Savage Streets with my man Sid Haig
Savage
coming.
Sisters, come on.
Or sorry, I've got Savage Streets on the brain. I've been thinking about that movie a lot recently. I love Savage Streets. Savage Sisters coming from Keynote from 1974. New audio commentary by James G. Chandler and Ash Hamilton, both from horrorflix.com. I don't think I've ever heard of them.
I've like stumbled across some articles from HorrorFlix, but I don't know who they are. I mean, I talk a lot with these, like whenever we talk like about extras that don't have commentaries, I do often do that. Like I'll say, just get like a podcaster, some fucking rando writer, anybody who has like something that they can say. Just put like it takes up like no space on the disc. It's super cheap. Just fucking get a fucking commentary recorded. Yep. So you know what? Fair enough. And I remember talking about this, and I think even watching maybe a trailer on my stream along, like when they first announced that it was a thing that was happening. But it's been so long that I actually don't remember dick about it.
I think it's hilarious that Kino saw everybody else's fascination with slipcovers, and now 90% of their titles are getting slipcovers, it feels like.
Yeah, and I hate to break it to them, I could not care less about their fucking I only get a Kino slip by accident. It's always like, well, I guess this comes with the slip now. I don't fucking know what to do with this. I find myself like maybe it's because I never really cared about slips before I started really getting hardcore on Blu-rays, and even then the only thing I cared about was, oh, this is like really beautiful to look at in person. So with these slips, it's like, yeah, that's fine. It helps when it has reverse cover art inside, so that means you at least like you can, when you give it to someone who's at your house, you're like, hey, do you want to watch this? They can open it up, see additional poster artwork and all that shit, which is a very minor pleasure, I guess, but that's the only thing that really makes it worthwhile. I hate I can't think of who. I think maybe Code Red does this, I know that, and a few other labels, but they'll have like a slipcover with artwork, and you take it off, it's like, okay, there's the same artwork, all right, well, what's the alternate artwork? And then there is white. Like, why the fuck is there a slipcover? And it's it's always like the cheap, like there's nothing special about it. Like if it was like embossed or had a penis or something coming out of it, like something to make it different from what's inside. But no, it's just a flat, glossy slipcover. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I do not give a shit.
That is the same. Scream Factory, unfortunately, it does that a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of their collector's editions have reverse art, but like the new 4Ks, none of them do, I don't think.
Yeah, is that? Let's see here. Got my Alligator. Oh wait, no, Alligator has it. Yeah.
The ones that are re-releases, which are most of theirs right now.
Oh, okay.
Those ones, they're just going with the original
things I don't
art.
buy. Okay, I got
There you go. Next up, wanted to point out Mondo, love them, support them a lot. They kind of got lost on the weekend because everybody else was shopping at Kino.
I forgot to look at Mondo oh god, I'm a piece of shit. I should fucking kill myself.
Kino Warner Archive got a lot of everybody's attention. Jared came out and said they are going to keep the number of bundles available for this pre-order up to the full 700 until those are all gone. So I believe those are still available. And usually, like, they were selling out of every title for the limited editions before the end of the weekend for most pre-orders. That is nowhere near the case this round. So keep an eye on Mondo if you are into it. Speaking of Cauldron, we just talked about them a minute ago. Contraband and Murder in a Blue World shipping update due to extended production and longer than normal manufacturing. They are going to be coming in pretty late. They're saying it's not going to be in hand until early May.
Which makes me sad because I have a bunch of stuff that I ordered with those releases.
The main thing that kind of irked me about this is that they didn't tell us until like a week after the ship date.
Yeah, that is really annoying. Like I get the problem with these like small, because like Vinegar Syndrome, Severin, obviously Criterion, Kino, all these companies, they have like these relatively large teams, like to varying degrees. Like Severin's fairly small, but it's still a team
Right.
of, you know, a fair amount of people. But then you have these companies like Cauldron that, as far as I can tell, are like,
it's 2 people.
yeah, it's when it's 2 people, or in some cases even like 1 person, like they might put amazing work out, but the second they hit a snag, they're fucked, because there's not, you know, that backup. You can't put work on someone else's shoulders if, you know, the 2 of you get fucked, you know, something goes wrong. And beyond that, like they're putting together these like really impressive packages, which just creates even more opportunity to get some lag in there. I hope it's nothing to do with the movies themselves. I hope it's just like packaging, or I don't know if they've said anything, but that's my only like concern. Like that's actually a concern with all these like newer labels as well, is like I'm always, well, is it going to look good? Right. And Cauldron I do trust because it's Jesse, and you know, he knows what he's doing. But like, you know, I really want Contraband to look fucking sick as hell. Oh yeah, that is a great Fulci flick, and I had that not shitty DVD, but the DVD's not amazing. So like, I mean, whatever. You know, as long as I get the movie at some point. You know, I've got, you know, 3,000 fucking movies in my living room that I can watch at any given point that I need to watch.
And that's I feel empathetic towards especially the smaller labels right now, and it's not to give them an excuse to hold on to, but it is kind of the worst time in the last 20 years to start a label, with coming off of a pandemic, a worldwide massive time for inflation, manufacturing delays on not just 1 or 2 things, but fucking everything. Like I go to my local grocery store and a third of the shelves seem to be empty at all times, and not just because they were just shopped, but there's just random things that are out of stock constantly right now.
Yeah, and Tiffany's doesn't have any jewelry. I mean, it's just
know, what the hell. But there is one label that started during the pandemic that I'm not going to drop the name, but they came out and hit their first release out of the park, and they've been unable to release anything else since then. And they've had like 4 titles lined up. They just can't do it because they can't find a trustworthy manufacturer. So they may be fucked from Jump Street.
Yeah, I mean that's an like this is another thing that I bring up sometimes, is it's shocking, like, just to think about how much these labels have to deal with in a world where a lot of people don't even understand the point of owning physical media. I was on a shoot recently. I think I was just a PA on this one, but we all went to dinner afterward, and I think she was the handler for the talent or something. But I was talking about Blu-rays, and she was just like, wait, you buy physical copies of movies? People still do that? Like, she was completely nonplussed by the idea. Right. And I was like, fuckity, yeah. And I went on this whole fucking tirade about like how important it is to own physical media and to support film. Yeah.
You think you made a convert that day?
I don't think so. Everybody just thinks I'm crazy. Hey, Brian.
Glad he's here.
My secretary.
So now the fun conversation.
I don't usually enjoy other people's misery, but there is something weirdly cathartic about this, and I feel I want it to be known. I do feel shitty about it. I shouldn't find pleasure in this, but I think this is fucking hilarious.
So I saw nobody else was saying it, so I made a post that said Synapse has quietly removed their listing of Thriller from their website and from Amazon, and now it is gone from everywhere else too. Grindhouse, Diabolic, no one has it in stock. And yeah, I've had, just like you had on your stream, I've had quite a few people say Vinegar Syndrome has come across as a bully about this, but I don't understand that mindset when, I mean, they're clearly in the right here.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the I can understand like being frustrated by them bringing it up so much and being kind of snide about it, but I feel like that's, you know, if you get in their shoes for a second, this is a big release for them. This is something that's costing them a lot of money to produce, and then you have this other company that's like, actually, we have this release and we are going to push this right the fuck out so that we beat you to the punch and get people to buy our version instead, our, importantly, inferior version of this film. And yeah, that's not cool. And I say this as someone who does like Synapse, and I do like Synapse's releases.
Same.
But you can't just like not release anything on your, you know, more mainstream line forever, and then just be like, oh, actually, we have Thriller. No. That's not how that works. That's a dick move. And so I think that, you know, while I'm not always the fight fire with fire type of person, or fight dicks with dicks type of person, you're, you know, yeah, be a bit of a dick. You know, they weren't like putting out like, you know, political cartoons about why Synapse is a bunch of, you know, commie pieces of shit or something. Like they, you know, they were just saying like, actually, you know, we have this superior, you know, legal release, and apparently they had some precedent, because I feel like if it was just a matter of like, you know, Synapse has the rights to distribute this particular version, and then Vinegar Syndrome has the rights for this particular version,
or even the format. It could have been that Synapse had the blue. Yeah,
you wouldn't see it just disappear. I cannot think of any reason why it would just go away completely, unless Synapse didn't have the legal right to distribute it. And they might very well have rights to that print, but that doesn't mean that they have the right to distribute that print.
Correct.
So, and you know, obviously neither of us has like the actual deets like from the lawyer's office, so we don't know exactly what happened. And if we did, we probably wouldn't be able to say it. But they were dicks. So you know, maybe at worst, neither was in the right. But I think the Vinegar Syndrome was in the right. Yeah.
I was very empathetic towards Jerry and Don, and again, everybody at Synapse is fantastic. Love those guys, but I was super sympathetic to the whole situation until they pushed up their release date and made it come out even sooner.
Yeah, that's the thing. And yeah, again, like my enjoyment of this is really just because it was this whole like little bit of drama,
right? And
it was pretty obvious from the outset that Vinegar Syndrome was in the right. Just knowing how much those guys vet everything, that when the fact that Synapse like felt the need to like, well, look at my big testicles, and then Vinegar Syndrome just like places the world's largest, you know, Scary Movie 3 style cock on the table, like really, and then Synapse is like, oh, shrivels up into their body
very quickly.
Like there's something uniquely humorous about that. Like I am so pumped for whatever Synapse does in the near future or far future, knowing their release schedule. But you know, yeah, I'm also eager for the Tombs of the Blind Dead 4K. That you know, hell yeah. But yeah, guys, you fucked up, and it's okay. It's okay to fuck up. Nothing wrong with it. Just gotta own up. Which I mean, you didn't really own up, but still.
I agree. So also coming from Keene, this just came out from Umbrella, so a lot of people have that one. But this is Stunt Rock from 1977. This is the same restoration as the Umbrella one got. Brand new 4K restoration. Audio commentary by Brian Trenchard Smith with Grant Page and Margaret Trenchard Smith. The Not Quite Hollywood interviews with Trenchard Smith and Grant Page, and then a whole bunch of random ass old archival extras. But this is a pretty damn fun movie.
Yeah, I quite like Stunt Rock. I feel like I don't know if I actually bought the Umbrella release yet. Oh God, this is I can remember what the fuck I bought, but yeah, I remember I got this on DVD a long time ago. Still have it somewhere, and it's such a great like. So there's various forms of exploitation, and a lot of times when you mention exploitation, you think of like kind of rapey things. But this is that like very beautiful, almost like family friendly exploitation where it's like we're gonna exploit what we have at our disposal. And it was like, all right, we got Grant Page. He's a fucking world-class stuntman, and he's an okay actor. All right, we got that. What else we got? Okay, we can blow up a lot of cars. Rad. Okay. There's also this band. Okay. All right. So we have a musical element. Cool. Okay. What does the band do? Well, they're magicians. Okay. We're gonna have a magic band. It's gonna be a magician band, and Grant Page is gonna fucking help them or something. Who gives a shit? They're gonna be in the same movie. It's gonna be fucking rad. And we're gonna what? Okay, so we got stunts because it's Grant Page. We got a rock and roll band. Stunt rock. Okay, let's make a movie, guys. And that's the movie. It's such a business decision in the like beautiful way that you only get in like really like the 70s and 80s. And like into the 90s a bit, where it's like this is all just how can we make money and make a something that'll appeal to the masses going to the theaters, but really not spend too much money. Right. And God, it's just such a weird film that came out of that mindset. And of course, Brian Trenchard Smith, a fucking god of no budget cinema. Love Brian. I actually have his book. I still haven't finished reading it because I never finished reading anything. But he's such an inspiration. And if you've ever seen Not Quite Hollywood, I mean, it's like so many great stories. So,
and not to mention the films that he's done, a lot of them have that feeling that this also has. I've always loved him. He is great.
Yeah, and if you haven't bought this before, you haven't bought the Umbrella release, just fucking buy the Kino. Sure, I'll probably get the Umbrella release just because I prefer Umbrella. But if you're region locked or just don't feel like spending the extra cheddar, I mean that's a great cover art, great film. Very good film. I'm not going to say it's a great film, actually. That's maybe overstepping. Very good.
It's a very fun movie.
Very fun movie, yeah. It's extremely fun. It's, when you get into, like, breaking it down on a technical level, maybe you can learn. But
it is entertaining as shit, though.
It is entertaining as shit.
The Umbrella release I will throw in is region free, and Orbitz had it in stock quite a lot recently, so is Grindhouse Video. And it's part of that Ozploitation Classics line that they're doing. Umbrella seems to be upping their game like fucking crazy this year.
Yeah, I don't like it because it means I spend more money. But yeah, when they put out that Showgirls Blu-ray, I think that's where it became obvious to me that this was going to be a problem. I have my Umbrella in here. So I got Orca, I got Stone, and I got Stunt Rock yet.
Moving to the next one, Kino putting out The Mysterious Dr. Fu Manchu and the Return of Dr. Fu Manchu from 1929 and 1930.
Guys, it was just different back then. Guys, I know what you're going to say. It was a different time. All right. They had just invented Scotch tape, and one guy in his office, pulled back his eyes and was like, guys, I have an idea. And lo and behold, a franchise was born. They found a stack of shitty adventure novels and were like, this plus tape plus whatever fucking cheap bullshit sets we can build, let's go. And that's these old Fu Manchu movies.
Just a mere 93 years ago.
Oh my God. Holy shit. Oh man, I just put like mortality shit into my brain. Thank you. But yeah, I've never seen these ones. The Fu Manchu movies are similar to Nunsploitation in that you hear about them and you're like, this sounds outrageous. I need to watch this. And then you watch them and you're like, it's a fun idea.
They're very not fully realized.
Yeah. Yeah, like I don't I love that we are in this bubble. Definitely go for the Lee Franco ones, 100%. I say that I haven't watched these particular titles because there's like 80 million Fu Manchu movies, so maybe these ones.
Again, 1929.
Christ. Maybe these ones break the mold a bit. I don't know. I'm not a Fu Manchu expert. I've watched a handful of them, but the Lee Franco ones are, fun. They're not good,
No,
in a conventional manner, but the Christopher Lee series of Fu Manchu movies is interesting. It's a worthwhile watch. Let me put it that way. They're a little dry, but worthwhile watch. But yeah, I mean, cool. But I'm glad I love that we live we're in this like bubble of fandom where stuff like this comes out and you're like, yeah. But then like, you start really putting this out there on like the Twitters or whatever, and you're going to get yourself some bad times.
yeah.
But like no one talks about it in our circle. We're just like, yeah, fucking new Fu Manchu movies from Kino. Hell yeah, man.
It's a double feature. That's got to be worth it. Shout Factory was teasing this long-awaited announcement for 2 or 3 days, and then it turns out they're releasing Scream Factory TV on April 15th, which is going to be not at all another 24/7 TV channel based on its horror sub-brand. So it'll likely be free, which is neat, I guess. But at the same time, it'll just be like Shout Factory TV, where there's always something streaming. You don't get to choose what to watch. You just turn it on.
Yeah, I mean, Shout Factory TV does have you can do on-demand stuff
for very specific titles, yeah.
But yeah, like and like there's some cool things, like they have like those old like Japanese I can't think whatever the fucking name for them is, but like the Kamen Rider and what have you type shows, and that's cool. But or like Ultra, I think they have like the Ultraman series, maybe. But at the end of the day, like it's not really like a big deal.
Right.
I will plug real quick. I just got on. It wasn't even a recommendation. It was just someone said it existed. But there's a streaming service called No Budge, and it's literally just like these no budget indie movies. A lot of it's short films. A lot of it's stuff you could probably find elsewhere. But it's really interesting because it's stuff I had never heard of. To some degree, there's one title, and it's Ham and Rye. Is that the one that?
Oh yeah,
Factory 25.
Factory 25. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's on there, but they have like a bunch of these movies. A lot of them are like New York hipsters and shit. But it's fascinating because it's stuff that I would never have stumbled upon otherwise. And I've already watched some really good shit. I haven't watched any features on it yet because I'm at time. But there was one, I think it was called Die Red, or Red. I think it was Die Red. That I really enjoyed. I was fucking stoned out of my mind, but if I remember correctly from Heichel's viewing, it was like it was either one very long shot or a handful of very long shots that were stitched together. And it blew my fucking mind in the moment. And that was just a random one that I put on. It was just like, well, that's a relatively short period of time. I have that available to me, and it got me good. And it's very cheap. I don't remember. I think it's like $50 for a year. So I just slammed down the $50. I was like, sure, why not? At least it's going to a good cause. So No Budge. That's a streaming service you might try.
Interesting. Yeah. Let's see. I don't know how real this is. Just wanted to throw out there. Arrow, Fran Simeone works for them, and it appears they're hinting at a Pick of Destiny release, possibly. Not sure if this is an actual thing or maybe it's an April Fool's coming up tomorrow.
Wait, Pick
Justin La Liberty said he just realized Pick of Destiny never got a Blu-ray. Fran posted that he saw it, and then La Liberty said, "Hope that means you've got something." And Fran said, "Maybe, maybe, maybe."
I thought Pick of Destiny did have a Blu-ray.
It's never had an official release.
That's
anywhere, not even just the U.S. Nowhere in the world.
I fucking thought I owned that on Blu-ray. I'm like, this is like Bernstein Bears or something for me. Holy shit. Okay, all right. Well, I mean, it's 2022. We need a fucking 4K of that shit. Come on.
Especially now that so many people have passed. I mean, Meatloaf's gone, Dio's gone. It'd be great to get a little presentation for Meatloaf on there.
I'm so mad that I have to go watch Morbius after this because now I just want to get hella stoned and watch Pick of Destiny.
It's such a fun movie too.
God damn it.
I talked about that on stream a couple of weeks. What was it? Oh, I was talking. Somebody brought up Tim Robbins, and I was like, his role in Pick of Destiny is great. And they were like, Pick of Destiny? What was he in that? And I said, he's the fucking homeless guy. He's fantastic.
I am so happy to be one of the few, the proud, the people that watched that in a movie theater.
Me too. I love that fucking movie.
I do wish I wasn't doing drugs at the time, so I wish I could go back to my younger self. When was that? It was like 2006, 7,
somewhere around there. Which is crazy, by the way, that a film from 2006 starring Jack Black does not have a Blu-ray yet.
Yeah, but I wish I could go back and like get myself onto drugs earlier. Fun fact: I started smoking weed because I moved in to this like duplex with this. It was the girlfriend of a chick who I was in a play with in Charleston, and they lived downtown Charleston, South Carolina. And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I want to live downtown, and I don't have a place to live right now, so this is perfect." And there's this guy that we lived with, who's just four of us, and we just randomly came together. And I was always like, man, he has so many friends always coming over. They don't stay very long, but he has so many friends. And he was a weed dealer,
of course.
And one day, like a friend of mine came over to visit my other friend, and he was like, "We should smoke," and I was like, "Okay." And here I am today, the Michael that you all know. Well, some of you know, and some of you love. Getting fucked up every possible moment.
I still wish somebody had talked me into doing it. I've still never done a damn thing in my life.
Oh man.
And I really need to. And now my job would flip the fuck out if they ever found out.
Yeah, my favorite thing to do is to just take my dog out for a walk, and in between him just fucking pulling on the goddamn leash. Just light up a joint, because I can't do it inside because I have a child. And just fucking get him blazed walking. I live downtown Las Vegas, for those that don't know, and so I can just like walk around, enjoy myself. No one's gonna mug me because I'm 6'4" and I have a fucking loud ass dog. And I just get blazed as fuck, and it's great. It's the greatest thing in the world.
I wish. Especially growing up in Barstow, that's what everybody did.
Oh yeah, everybody. Drugs. I mean, in order to not, kill yourself, you have to do some kind of substance. So.
Absolutely. All right, let's start getting into the fun ones from today. The return of Captain Invincible from Severin.
This
Alan
one
Arkin,
blew my
Christopher
mind.
Lee. This is a big deal.
I was shocked. I hope that I really need them to announce this is actually a 4K. What was did they have the details on what the scan is? I actually forgot entirely.
3 discs. I don't think so.
Well, if that was scanned in 4K, guys, you gotta fucking come on, treat us. Like, come on. I say that. I'm not sure that Return of Captain Invincible needs a 4K. What they could do,
needs one.
They need to get the rights to is it Condor Man?
Oh God.
And they need to like double it up. That's what they
should.
See, that's the way to do it. But I'm very excited. I'm super excited. I never finished watching this, I don't think. That's another thing for those that don't watch my show. I've probably stopped watching more movies than I have finished, and not on purpose, just that's my life, is I'm always like starting something and then something happens and I cannot finish it for whatever reason. And this, I believe, was one of them. And so this is great because it was like a VHS rip or like early DVD maybe, I don't recall, but not a great quality version is the point. And that's another thing that I love about all the boutique Blu-ray companies is that it constantly happens. They'll be like, oh man, I watched like 20 minutes on a shitty VHS dupe, and then bada bing bada boom, pristine 1080p baby
in a big 3-disc set, beautiful release.
Yeah.
So this has disc 1 theatrical cut with all kinds of extras, disc 2 director's cut with all kinds of extras, and then a CD soundtrack, which is fucking great.
Yeah. And Sardis, it is not animated. This is a live action musical film with songs by Richard O'Brien, the man who is basically responsible for my marriage. And stars Christopher, I guess co-stars Christopher Lee as the villain. Got Alan Arkin as the titular Captain Invincible. God, I'm so pumped.
I also wanted to point out from Sardis just a second ago when you were talking about walking your dog. He says, I used to get wasted and go to the San Diego Zoo. And that sounds fun as hell.
That does sound great.
One thing that I don't know if you had heard the podcast yet, probably not. John says, during the Severin podcast, Jonathan Rigby asked David to get a Lee movie, and they bleeped the title.
Ooh.
Which means there is for sure a forthcoming release. Not sure if that's a standalone release or they could be working on a potential third set.
Oh man, I need to get back on. I'm so bad at keeping up with really anything, but the podcast. I always forget to check for the podcast.
Same, John. Every single month, John tells me you got to check out the podcast for this, and then I realize I don't think I've listened to the podcast since last July. When I'm not driving to work and I'm working from home, it's so much more difficult to spend time on it.
Yeah, same.
But this is the big deal. We are getting the Eurocrypt of Christopher Lee collection number 2. And this each film has been remastered from the not OCN, original negative materials, with over 15 total hours of trailers, commentaries, alternate cuts, vintage interviews, and new featurettes, plus the Dracula and Sons soundtrack and an all-new 100-page book by the Christopher Lee biographer, Jonathan Rigby.
Yeah, I think that the other release is far more exciting because it's like guaranteed replay value.
Right.
I don't know that I still haven't dug into the Eurocrypt number 1, which is sad because that was I think the first time I went to Severin to pack stuff, and I've since been there again to pack stuff, and now they have a second volume, and I still haven't fucking watched it. Which is nothing against the set. I just, time
doesn't exist.
Yeah, there's not enough of it, and we're all gonna die, and then nothing will happen, and we'll poop ourselves. But it looks fun. I've heard a lot of people say that. One of the Dracula movies is very underrated.
Dracula and Son?
I believe it's Dracula and Son, yeah. So that intrigues me. I didn't see very many positive words about it online, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Right.
It's just, when you don't have anything to really go by, you have to, take what you can. And
just like Ken says, he says Dark Places is great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very intrigued by Dracula and Son and Dark Places because those are the ones that I've seen people come out of the woodwork and say, actually, I'm a big fan of this film.
Right.
So that's very enticing. There's nothing there's nothing in the set that really screams like the kind of kitsch value that the previous set had with the TV series. Like that was one of the things where you're like, wait, what exists? And none of this really screams that to me. But it is an intriguing bunch of films. And one thing I've noticed is a lot of these like really obscure movies, they usually had like really shitty releases. And so you watch those releases and the sheer shittiness of the source tends to color how you see the film. I actually had that problem recently where I was watching an old version of a movie that I needed to do an edit for. And I was like, man, this looks like shit. I can't wait to see the Blu-ray.
Right.
Because that's going to change everything. And so that's, and I know there's been a few movies that I've seen, you know, where I watched it before on like VHS or whatever, and I was like, this is fine. And then I watched The Blue, and I'm like, fuck, this is great, or at least good, or, you know, mildly pleasurable. Got a tinkle in my peen.
There is a handful of movies that I've been like that for, but I think the one that I did that most with was Just Before Dawn. Some shitty VHS that I saw years ago. I just thought it was the most piece of crap film, and then I got that Code Red, and it's admittedly it's a Code Red release. It's not even great, but it is just so much better than the VHS that I was like, wait, this movie is kind of brilliant, like low key one of the best slashers.
Yeah, that happens a lot. So there is also that possibility that all the movies that I saw shitty reviews for, it's just they didn't see a good enough copy.
Right.
And I agree with John. I mean, you know, the fact that it's a bunch of rare Lee films is enticing. I'm not as big of a Christopher Lee fan as some people. That's not to say I dislike. I should probably. That's a rabid cult. I love Christopher Lee. It's just one of those things where, like, I don't just see like, oh, Christopher Lee's in a movie and go, oh yeah, put it inside me, because, you know, Christopher Lee, great actor. He was in a lot of shitty movies. That's facts. And a lot of boring movies. You know, it's sad, but it's true. And so I don't really get as super excited by just, it's a movie with Christopher Lee. You know, that just tells me that there's at least one good performance. That doesn't really mean anything. You know, it's not like he was super picky about what he was in. But it is cool, though, and I'll definitely pick it up, probably during a sale.
And the first one is still in print and shipping as a box set, so it's not seemingly, this is nothing you have to run out to buy tomorrow. The films in this, by the way, just realized we haven't actually said. First of all, span a wide swath of time. Uncle Was a Vampire from 1959, The Secret of the Red Orchid from 62, Dark Places from 74, Dracula and Son Director's Cut from 76, and the US version from 79. And then they have the Dracula and Son soundtrack, and then finally Murder Story all the way from 89. So 30 different years of films there.
Yeah, that's I mean, I do. I'm very excited to eventually watch these. I'm not so pumped that I'm pre-ordering immediately, but I am very excited to see these. And I love Ken's comment. It's amazing Lee bitched about doing the Horror Dracula sequels or Hammer Dracula sequels, but yet he does Uncle and Son. Like,
yeah,
like yeah, he complained about these, you know, the dialogue and all that, but he just made some like real garbage. Which whatever, that's, you know, fine. Yeah, a nice restoration of the Bloody Judge wouldn't be bad either. That's a good point. I just watched Bloody Judge recently. It was all right. You know, I expect a little bit more out of Jess Franco, but it was, you know, it's pretty good.
Lee was in Howling 2 and Star Wars Episode 2, for God's sakes. That's very true.
Well, Howling 2 is fucking great, though. So probably the greatest end credit sequence of any film ever.
I don't remember what the end credit sequence.
Oh, it's great. So it's the fucking Babel song that's played.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And then it's a montage of various scenes or shots in the film, and there's that one shot of Sybil Danning ripping her top off, and it's almost like the producers were like, okay, we paid Sybil Danning a lot of money to show her tits in this movie, which doesn't make any sense because Sybil Danning showed her tits in like every movie, but whatever. But then they're like, okay, we're gonna get our money out of this because in the contract it doesn't say how many times we can use that shot, and so it's just like it's like this beautiful aggressive overuse of Sybil Danning's tits.
Right.
And it's amazing. It's such a great end credit sequence.
Ronin Flicks announced a sale, and yet another one, 35% off their current low sale price when you spend 50 or more and put in the code Insanity. I was just mentioning Ronin Flicks seems odd because I swear I used to buy from them all the time, and then lately I don't even remember the last thing I bought from them.
Yeah, they had some like really cool titles. You know, they had, I mean, Gates of Hell was a really good one. I talked about. They had a few Dario Argento movies. They had The Card Player, Opera, and then Sleepless.
Yep.
Right.
And then they had that big release of oh shit, the Stanley film, Hardware.
Yeah. And then of course Stony Grave. And I think they're
and Haunt too. That was
and Haunt was like the big ridiculously large box set considering the movie, which I like. I mean, Haunt's a great movie, but it was like, why? It almost felt like we got an actual new movie that people like.
Right.
Oh shit! What do we? Let's just go hog wild. And then they went like slightly over what the actual fandom needed from that film. It's not fucking Drive.
Right.
But yeah, I haven't really seen anything recently from them that really like toasted my marshmallows. But also I Spit on Your Grave wasn't that long ago. It's just I think it. You know what I think it is? I think it's we get like so many like just such like a constant deployment from these labels like Vinegar Syndrome and Severin and Kino and Criterion that Ronin flicks like they go in spurts and they're great spurts, but there's a stretch in between and it's just a few months, but in those few months we get like just like a deluge of great releases. But I do I like them. They also have the problem with it's Ronin flicks and Scorpion, right? Yep. And I don't know the fucking difference.
Well, Ronin Flicks was literally just the retailer, basically, and they were putting out exclusive Scorpion titles, but now Scorpion is now distributed by Kino. So most of the appeal to go to Ronin Flicks was Scorpion, and that's all gone to go to Kino. So Ronin Flicks, as their own label, has only put out 4 or 5 titles, I think. You know what? Actually, I think now it's like 7, because they also did Lawnmower Man 2. They did that Michael Keaton Game 9 movie or whatever it's called. And then some other random ass film. And then that's it. But they don't have Scorpion anymore to draw everybody to their site. They have the old titles that they're still selling, but they're not exclusives.
There's no way that I Spit on Your Grave was November of 2020.
The box set was. The 4K was October of the 4K was October of 2021.
Holy dicks. Holy shit, man! This is just pandemic, right? This isn't just age, like sending these years into overdrive. Like I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and be literally a mummy. God damn.
God, what was it? I think it was last week. I was talking to my wife and said, it's been a really hard 3 years this last month, and it feels like every month has been that for the last 2 years.
Good lord. All right. Well, yeah. So they have their sale. I've thought about doing the sale. I don't think I will. There were a few that interested me, but they never like they're always there. It seems like, but yeah, it's I don't know. It's such a weird little because it's them and then Code Red and Dark Forest. Like it's like this little bubble. And they're like the classy version because it's Bill's brother doing Scorpion.
Walt.
Yeah. And it's such a weird I don't even want to know how all that interpersonal shit works.
There has to be so much drama on that side.
Yeah, people, that thing I would love to be a fly on the wall stuff. I wouldn't want to be a fly on that wall. I would.
Has to be a few layers of glass at least.
Yeah, fucking Jesus Christ.
Moving on to something
and I
cool.
fucking missed this one. I'm so mad. Someone pointed this out in the comments, and I feel like a fucking idiot. Uzumaki coming from Discotheque, right?
Discotheque.
Their new Neon Nights.
Neon Nights, yeah. Coming June 28th, and you can pre-order now from Right Stuff. This has I love how they said this, the director's narration, camcorder footage, behind the scenes, Region A disc, of course, in Japanese, and this is what they are saying is the first in a range of live action films, which is pretty damn cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm not sure I'll ever get this because I love Uzumaki the comic. Not big on the movie. It's it's one of those things that's a little unfair because the manga is so wild and there's so much just like visually intense shit happening, and it's stuff you really can't easily replicate,
of course,
in a film. And some of it works really well. Like there's some really cool moments and cool visuals, but it's like I would remember being very kind of meh on the whole experience. So not sure I'll ever get it. Although I do feel like at some point I'm gonna do a video that might need it. So maybe I will have to. I don't know. We'll see what the reviews say.
And the big thing, it'll probably be pretty cheap at some point.
Yeah, that's true because it's discotheque. So I mean that is good. And it's I like the idea of this label a lot. A lot of these labels like all this there's a lot of like Japanese, Hong Kong stuff like that is really it's a lot of things I'm not necessarily aware of, but definitely hits a sweet spot for me. I mean, like 88 Films, for example, is really like just recently just like getting into all my bits and bobs. Same for Eureka.
And if you want to find somebody that is well versed in these, I suggest subscribing to my friend here, the Asian Movie Enthusiast. He puts out reviews literally 5 or 6 times a week and does really great work.
I think I've watched some videos of his.
Speaking of things that feel like they've been away for a long time, Twilight Time is having a spring sale.
I remember the days of Twilight Time. I remember.
I've never enjoyed Twilight Time. I think I have maybe 2 or 3 releases from them. But the funny thing, they put this out and it had a link with it. The link that I put on these announcement posts, the link is dead almost immediately.
Wow. Yeah, Twilight Time's so weird because like it felt for a while like sort of a prestige label. And they put out some interesting releases. They definitely they put out stuff that is in my wheelhouse. But you know, was in that weird sort of Turner Classic Movies audience niche.
Yep.
And which is fine, but of course you have a bunch of labels that do that, including a couple that are much more popular. And then the other side of that is like, where's there a website that I can buy these that is what's the word? Good. Like it's like a label made by old people, right down to the coders. I don't know what their actual team is like. It might be a bunch of fucking 20-somethings. I don't know, but it just feels like it's covered in mothballs at all times, which is too bad because like I own, I don't know, maybe a dozen, and it's just such a weird fall from grace ever since they like
really was
closed up shop and then sort of came back, but not really. It's a weird thing, but yeah, this is. I mean, I don't get it. And then the new site is fucking garbage. So
they had a lot of good titles, and they put out some that are still unable to be found literally anywhere else. So I get that a lot of them still go for like lots of eBay dollars, which I don't fully agree with. But the big thing is they were all limited to only, I believe, 3,000 for the vast majority of them, which that limited side, it caused a whole bunch of people to go buy them. And that has made them obviously be very scarce. And then also, I believe the founder died or something, right?
I don't remember the exact details. That's anytime there's like something happens like that, and I hate to say this, I almost immediately forget after I report on it. It's nothing against anybody. It's just there's not enough space in my noggin. But there was some sadness, and then kind of just all shut down. And of course, and as John says, the Screen Archives website is akin to a fucking Sears catalog from 1965.
Absolutely,
it's so awful.
And John confirmed he did die. Yeah, the main guy behind it, he did die, and I think that was right after they seemingly were shutting down, and then everything got sold. So they are still existing, kind of in a shell of their former self. Anyways, the Batman Steelbook, everybody knew this was coming, exclusive to Best Buy. That'll be released soon. And then Turning Red, this is when I was going to bring up your video, but God, I love this movie. This was so
So
good.
good. Jinx.
And then there's that guy.
Hey, look at that.
And that is
My
it for
favorite
announcements.
Yeah, that got a lot of cool stuff happening. Some lame stuff. Shout Factory. Yeah, I fucking great time to be a movie fan. Bad time to be an owner of a wallet.
That is a great point. And you just said odd stuff coming up. Shout Factory just a little while ago. John asked, "What is your aversion to Scream Factory?" Never heard, and I know you don't like their releases.
Wait, was that for you or for me?
No, that was for you.
Oh, okay. I just don't like their business practices, and I don't like how lazy some of their releases are. The thing that, like, it's one of those frustrating things. If my job wasn't to comment on these things, I probably wouldn't even say that many negative things about them. But I just see like all these companies doing really great work, or at least doing their best. And when you have a company that has so much more money behind them, and you see them just kind of like when they'll put out like, oh, here's this bare bones Roger Corman movie that we're going to limit to 1,500 units for $30, and we're not going to put any fucking special features on it. Fuck you in the ass. You have the money to get a commentary made. You can get someone to do a fucking video essay. Like, it's not that fucking hard. You have Vinegar Syndrome with a smaller team and presumably less money. I don't know how everybody's finances goes. And they're working with far more obscure material.
For sure.
And they still put out these fantastic releases. And almost like, sometimes there's a few duds, but almost every one of them feels like they put in like just blood, sweat, and tears and did everything they could. And knowing what I know, they do as much as they can. Like, sometimes people just say fuck off to them when they want an interview, or they can't find the person, or the person's just disappeared off the face of the map. But they do their fucking best. And I don't get that from Shout Factory all the time. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they put out amazing releases. Like, I am not saying that they don't put out good stuff. I'm not saying that their catalog isn't really great. They have part of them having money is they get access to these amazing titles. They have great connections. They got these great deals with studios. They put out great stuff, and it goes to the single shelf left at Best Buy. It always shows up there. Like, they got their connections and they got the money, and they put out fine Blu-rays for the most part, and sometimes really good stuff. Like we're gonna talk about our hauls in a bit. I got this Sword and the Sorcerer. I got Albert Pyun's first movie on 4K UHD. I've watched 15 minutes of it because, again, my time. And I was like, hell to the yeah, man. This is fantastic. Great transfer. It's a baller movie. It has a lot of, pretty great extras, including commentary with the man himself. Awesome. But at the same time, you get a lot of lazy releases. They do that kind of Arrow re-release thing where it's like,
oh yeah,
you're just grabbing money. And again, just a lot of like overpriced bullshit. And then beyond that, there's business practices that I'm not sure I can really go fully into, honestly. But
I've heard a lot of bad shit too on that end.
There's a lot of scummy behavior. There's the thing about these Blu-ray companies is fans will generally do this kind of like team sports type thing where it's like, oh, Severin just beat Vinegar Syndrome 10-1, and no, they're working together most of the time. Like, these guys are friends. Like, they might snipe each other here and there, but like, these people work together. Like, there's a lot of camaraderie with these companies, but there's a couple that are outside of the fray for a good reason. And Shout Factory is one of them, because they're kind of scummy. They're not as bad as certain other people, Code Red, but they also don't have the excuse of being like a mentally ill poor person. They're a big company that are kind of dicks, and they will buy up rights just to fuck over other companies, and I don't like that. It's one thing to put out a lazy release or to put out something that's overpriced. Like Lord knows, Vinegar Syndrome puts out some movies that are definitely overpriced. But I feel the love, and they're not fucking over other people, so I'm okay with it.
I understand.
Lena's got a good
Lena says, I'll say it. Sometimes one company will get the rights to distro a movie, but the materials will get held hostage by a different company.
Yeah.
With Shout Factory, I feel like they blow their load on licensing fees, and then it stops. Then the budget is gone.
Yeah, you're right. And and I'm like, I almost like, if it wasn't for the kind of shitty practices with other companies, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But it's that death by a thousand cuts, where it's like there's all these issues. And the thing is, I still own a shitload of Shout Factory releases. I still buy from Shout Factory. I still engage in their sales. I probably have I use Billy bookcases in my living room, and I think I have 3 or 4 shelves, just filled with Shout Factory. So I have, nothing against buying their releases in general, but they are there are times where I will just say fuck you when I see something that is obviously a lazy cash grab, because they'll say, oh, well, not enough people are going to buy this Corman title, so we'll just make it a limited release to get that FOMO money, and they'll buy them. So who needs extras? Who needs to get like a nice scan? It can just be a fine scan. Fuck it, who cares? Whereas, again, you have companies like Vinegar Syndrome and Severin who do their absolute best. Does it always work out? No, not necessarily, but you can tell that they're doing their best, and it's not just a money game. And Shout Factory, to me, even though I'm sure that people work there, who are very passionate, I'm not saying they're not passionate about it, but the way that the final product comes along, it feels like a cash grab 9 times out of 10. And so, yeah, it's one of those things where if I can buy something from a company that's not Shout Factory, I prefer that. At the same time, I'm not going to just boycott them, because I'm not a fucking asshole. I'm not some puss that can't handle some shady business practices. It's not that big of a deal for me. But I just would like better from them.
Well, and not every release is Sword and the Sorcerer, for sure.
That's true. Yeah, and not every release is Sword and Sorcerer. They put out a lot of releases where I'm just like, okay, you made a Blu-ray. There's that, and it has slip, maybe, I guess, but whatever. I think they get by, with that licensing stuff, where it's like, people will say like, oh, they have the best catalog. Maybe, they definitely have like a very packed catalog full of very entertaining, often classic titles.
Very accessible catalog.
But it's very accessible. That's right. Yeah, like, the difference is their eye is on the dollar sign more so than the preservation, which is fine. Like, that's their bread and butter. Like, they're not preservationists. That's not their goal. Their goal is to put out entertaining movies on Blu-ray and make money. Everyone's trying to make money, but
the egregious ones for me on that front are like you talked about the Arrow re-releases. They are re-releasing things, but the most damaging part is they're not even doing the work on these re-releases. They're using Studio Canal. For Candyman, they're literally using the Arrow scan.
Yeah,
it is a much worse slap in the face.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a very passionate thing. And when for me, like, everybody buys for different reasons. For me, it's very much based on my love of the art and the history, and really, because this gets said a lot, and it's a bit of a cheap pop, but like, every movie's a miracle. It's so hard to make a movie, and even if you have millions of dollars, it's still really hard. Like, a fucking, even something as hack as like Transformers 87, it's still a fucking pain in the ass to make.
Right.
And there's still a million things that go wrong. And so that's why, like, I, over the years, become more and more like it's hard for me to really shit on a movie. Like I think the only movie I've shit on in any recent memory is Grizzly 2. Like I really don't shit on anything because it's such a process. And so me buying these movies, on one hand, yeah, I'm looking for entertainment, I'm looking for fun, I'm looking to enjoy myself, but I'm also just it fills me with joy to partake in the sort of I can't think of the right word, but you know, memorialization of these movies that no one gives a fuck about, really. You know, in the grand scheme, these are movies that could easily disappear and no one would notice.
Right.
But then you have companies coming in and swooping up the rights and talking to the filmmakers who often are not in the greatest conditions. And I've been a part of and seen these they're these people that did like one thing or a handful of things in the 80s or whatever and then just disappeared or what. It's
right.
It's such a like bizarre world full of these people who were very passionate at one point, maybe still are, and they created this art, and it just kind of came and went a lot of the time. And now it's like, okay, we're going to give you this beautiful 4K scan of the OCN for this project. It's no longer going to be on VHS. It's going to be forever preserved. If the film burns up in a fire, that's awful, but we have this beautiful 4K scan of it, and it lives forever. And to me, that's beautiful. And that's why when companies are obviously passionate, they get more points in my book. That's why,
I agree.
like with Severin, I kind of, there was a point where I was more critical, and now I'm far less because I saw the passion, and it created this emotional response in me. Vinegar Syndrome, of course, same way, because we've all seen. And the more, there's obviously going to be a capitalist point of view here, and I'm not against capitalism by any, I'm not some like weird, like super socialist weirdo.
Right.
I'm all for capitalism, but the commercial side of things comes second to the art and the passion. And I don't particularly care for How Shot Factory and companies like, say, Code Red, obviously don't have the same level of passion or don't display it at the very least.
I understand and agree. I've got a sign in my movie room here that says the disconnected disconnected museum and library, and that's when people ask why are you buying this? It's literally it's a restoration thing. It's an archive thing. It's things so that I can understand and be inspired by literal creations that have withstood the test of time. And in many situations, they would not have withstood the test of time if we weren't buying these things. Period. The other aspect of that is, I say this all the time on the channel, but every single film has been somebody's favorite film, and no matter what, even if it's some shitty Code Red release, there's probably something I can latch onto and at least appreciate about everything, except for maybe Grizzly 2. But most of these, there's at least redeemable qualities, and there's something. People put their life into these, literally, for many of these movies, and to appreciate that is the genuine human side of this, which is something that doesn't get touched on enough.
And Melina, I haven't looked at any of the Kino discs that have the supposed issues, so I don't have any immediate opinion. I will say Kino does have a problem with their QA, definitely. Kino's a weird one. I don't even know how to like fully. Kino's so weird. Kino exists in this weird space because they have like a billionaire behind them, and they just kind of put out anything that they want effectively.
Right.
And the quality, it's one of those things where they're so cheap because they're always on sale, that a lot of the times I kind of look past the quality issues. Because like there's Vanilla Ice,
Be Cool.
What is it called? It's Cool as Ice. Goddamn. Doesn't look.
I don't know why I said Be Cool. Yeah, no, it doesn't.
It should look a lot better. So as an example, I think that Kino gets a pass from me just purely on the fact that they are so cheap that it's like buying from a dollar bin.
Right.
And sometimes they're amazing, and sometimes they're less so. I think there was a Polanski movie that they put out that had like a serious audio issue, and that's why I didn't buy it. So I never actually got a chance to actually listen to the issue.
Well, and they're also super prolific. They put out so many titles that they're going to have more problems. Just
Yeah,
by
that's also
definition.
that's another thing, is it's such a flood of films. I'm very curious to look at that issue though with Body Snatchers, because that's a big release.
It is, and gosh, their Silence of the Lambs had an issue that 4K, and on the Body Snatchers and on this, I will comment and say, not to sound snobby, but I have a TV with Dolby Vision, so none of the issues have cropped up for me. It is, something that I feel for everybody, but I've appreciated pretty much all of their 4Ks. I think that they've looked pretty damn good. But Kino is also one of those companies that they personally do not restore most of their titles. They just release what they've been given.
Yeah, that's another aspect of it, is they're just like buying these things up and putting them out, which is fine. It's just a different model. And again, it's like that dollar bin thing. I think,
Right.
if they were, again, if I was paying $30, $35, $40 for each release, it'd be a much different story. But I feel like they're very transparent.
Yep.
As far as like what they're doing, not so much with the quality, but with what they're doing. But it's bad for any company to put out shoddy work. So anytime they do, bad form.
Well, and not to denigrate their name or Mill Creek, but they are kind of like a Mill Creek with money. They very much do a lot of the same thing. Mill Creek doesn't restore most of their stuff in house. They just put out what they've been given, but their stuff is very cheap for them, so it comes across as cheap to us, and it's shitty a lot of the time.
Yeah. Do you want to do I need to leave in like 5-10 minutes.
You're good.
To
Pickups?
watch Morbius. So I guess, did you say you didn't have anything?
I've got two real quick things. A lot of people are getting this in. I got in Death Game from Grindhouse literally just like 2 hours before this went live. Glad to have this. And then the world's most expensive keychain. This package is going for like $140 on eBay right now.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah, already. But the cool thing, I also got this from the Grindhouse site. I can't wait to dive into this.
I bought the same package. I haven't gotten it yet, but it's very
exciting. Also came with this rad bookmark on the inside.
Amazing. Oh my God, I'm using the shit out of that. Hell yeah.
All right, what do you got?
All right, so I just I threw together, I get stuff in all the time because I hate having money. But just a few things that I picked up recently or that have been sent to me. I got my second I still don't remember how to say his name because someone told me and I forgot already, but Kazuo Umez, but Oroki, the new release from Viz Media. I own a bunch of their other books. I actually own Drifting Classroom from the same author, same company. I haven't dug into it yet, but it's got a great cover. It's hard to kind of, you can kind of see it. And it looks rad. I just love something about horror manga. Really works for me. I don't give a shit about manga in general, but horror manga just makes me so happy. I got that from a local bookstore, Writer's Block, downtown Las Vegas. Highly recommend if you're in town. They're a great store. And then I just got in, so Fab Press had a big sale. And I didn't realize it was a movie adaptation. Well, that's awesome. So there's a big Fab Press sale, and they have a U.S. I don't know if like who distributes them is public knowledge, so I'm not going to say, but they have a U.S. distributor, so you can get them in the U.S. pretty cheap shipping wise, and these books were hella cheap. So I got volumes 2, 3, and 4 of Cinema Sewer because I only owned the first volume.
Very nice.
Love it. This art in particular is just great. Also got the Abel Ferreira, The Moral Vision book by Brad Stevens. This is so cheap that because I hadn't like physically held a copy before. I didn't realize it is a very well produced book. Like it is a beautiful, chunky boy about the career of Abel Ferreira. I don't remember where it ends in his career. Obviously he's still making movies, but it goes through a lot of stuff at the very least. And then I got Dario Argento, The Man, the Myths, and the Magic by Alan Jones. These are a little dirty. They had like a little bit of like a dusty thing going on. But again, they were all so inexpensive,
Right.
and like again, like so
Jeez.
like many photos, all glossy and sexy. The print's real nice. It's a proper fucking book. None of that self-published on Amazon bullshit, made in your hometown kind of shit. And then also Norman J. Warren, Gentleman of Terror, an oral history by Adam Locks and Adrian Smith. That just again, like Fab Press, guys. Anytime that they're having a sale and you see some shit that strikes your fucking eyeballs, like pick it up, because everything I've ever bought from them, at the very least, was very well made.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, I haven't read these yet, so maybe they all suck dick. I don't think they do, but and you know what? If they do, that's cool. Sucking dick's fine. Nope, I'm not judging them. Yeah, so some good books. And then I got two things, oddly enough, from Shout Factory recently. I got Sword and the Sorcerer. I love Albert Pyun. He is one of my heroes. He lives in this town, and I'm always wishing that I could meet him, but I have yet, and it makes me very sad. But as I mentioned, has a commentary by Mr. Pyun, so I am fucking can't wait. Oh, yeah. And then Alligator, I watched for the first time since I was a teenager. I remember it was on like HBO on demand or Showtime on demand or something a lot, and I would watch it in spurts. And specifically the wedding party scene stuck in my mind so much from childhood. And now I think this is my very first time watching it front to back without any interruptions. And goddamn, it's such a good movie. I really want to do a video about like what you can learn as a filmmaker from Alligator, because it's so smartly written, so well made. There's so many interesting choices made throughout the film, and a few problems as well that could be fixed that are also like nice lessons. So I love it. It has great. It's a great scan. It looks fantastic.
It really does.
I just finished shitting on Shout Factory, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, got your audio commentary, got your interviews, all this shit. It's so beautiful. Oh, I love it.
Plus, got to mention maybe the extra of the year, the interview with Bryan Cranston on there when he was a PA on there.
Yeah, it did,
and it's not short either. That is a long interview.
Yeah. Oh, my insert got a little damaged. Oh well, it's just Shout Factory. Who gives a shit? So great film. And then, so this is a cool thing. I have some amazing patrons, and I have an address for them to send stuff to. It's not my actual address. It's a box, because I don't trust these fucking weirdos with my personal information. But one of them, Carrie Mulligan, and let's just say, yeah, sure, the award-winning actress, Carrie Mulligan,
yeah.
Sure. Sent me two things. Well, sent me like a huge box full of stuff that the full unboxing is on my Patreon. But two of the things...
Link in the description.
Two of the things blew my mind. One was this French edition of Possession. Jeez. Now, Possession is one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. Every time I watch this movie, it gets better. That's the kind of film it is. And I had the old Blu-ray, and I remember seeing this announced and being like, oh, I would love that, but it's so expensive and it's French. And lo and behold, I get sent a box. It's really heavy, has the word fragile on it. And I'm like, oh, what could be inside? And lo and behold, Possession. And the greatest thing, so it opens up.
That release is mind-blowingly good.
And you've got this book of, I think this is like information about the film with like some essays and pictures. Yeah, it's mostly the information like about the history of the movie and like the cast and stuff. It's all in French. I can't fucking read it. And then you've got this whole ass paperback book, Une histoire réelle d'André Zulawski, par Mathieu Rostac et François Caheux. I mean, it canceled for that. But this beautiful, glossy book full of interviews. Oh, so many interviews all about the movie. It's all in French. Can't fucking read it. And then you've got the 4K UHD set with a commentary I probably can't listen to because it is Andrei Zulawski, and I find it highly unlikely that that's in English. It's chock full of stuff. You know, you got conversation avec Andrei Zulawski, It's an hour and 40 minutes. I'm betting that's not subbed for my pleasure.
I actually think a lot on that release is subbed for English.
Oh, really? Okay, well, fuck me.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to actually look at it because, again, time. But I did watch the 4K. Super stoned. The only thing that stood out was every so often a character will speak German, and it's hard subbed in French. So that was the only like distracting thing. But yeah, I'm really excited to actually go through and check and see what extras I can actually like appreciate.
Right.
But just the fact, like, just the whole, like, it's just amazing. Such a great release. I wish that we Americans could get releases half that good for movies like that. And then last one before I have to hightail it out of here. There are two films I love that share the same title, and that is Suspiria. I love Dario Argento's film, and I love a guy who made the movie with the cannibal and Dune Boy. So I didn't even know this existed, but this is a box set
you got it.
for
Nice.
Suspiria. And you open it up. Shit, dicks. Okay, wait a second. Let me just. Yeah. And I'll just hold this shit up. So you got all of the. This is German, by the way. And you got all this stuff, just these characters, they're fucking giant postcards, basically. And then
they fit very well in vinyl record frames, by the way.
Ooh, okay, noted. For my Suspiria room. Then you've got this cool thing. It's basically, there's a little bit of text that I can't read, but mostly it's photos from the shoot. And some of them are promotional photos that I don't know why I'm doing it like that, so you can't see it. From various like high-profile photographers that are really beautiful,
it's a very
as well
nice
as stills
release
from the original. And so that's great. So it's a visual book. That's amazing for me. Got a poster for the remake. Got a poster for the original. Big ass posters, and then inside this fucking weird hole. A lot of weird holes in my line of work. You've got the set, and the set is the
so
fucking
many
bullshit we were
discs.
talking about. The fucking fuck is this? This actually makes sense. This actually makes sense because there's so many goddamn discs. You've got, I don't even like, you got Suspiria, both of them on 4K, both of them on Blu-ray. You've got both soundtracks. I believe the Tom York soundtrack, is 2 discs, so 2 CDs for that. And then you've got an extras DVD for the original Suspiria, and I think an extras Blu-ray maybe for the remake. I don't remember, but a lot of German. But yeah, Coke Films put this out. Don't fucking know how to put it back together. It's bonkers banana fuck.
It's amazing, and they do a lot of stuff like that. Their release like that of the Psycho series is amazing.
Jesus Christ.
One thing, if you are ever going to go out there and pick up releases like this, I will say when you can't read, Google Lens is a godsend. Hold up your phone, and it works fairly well. It's not going to be perfect. It'll be English a little bit, but it's decent.
Okay, I'm gonna read that entire book with Google. But yeah, so that's some of the cool shit. I also got if any of you are curious, I just got in Preston Fassel's Landis, the story of a real man on 42nd Street, the book about Bill Landis. It's very small, and it's very it has, that you look at the print in a book and you're like, yep, that's self-published. It very much has that look, but cool thing I got. So
as you have 28 seconds before you have to go, you want to talk about Dr. Deathface real quick?
Oh fuck, I'm making a movie, and the link's in the description, right?
It is.
Okay, good. I'll pay you later. So I have an Indiegogo that was successful. We made a little over $10,000, and it's currently in demand, and we're going to keep it in demand while we shoot the film. We're going to start shooting at the end of May, basically, and it's a big fucking wild movie full of fucking and death and Jess Franco style zooms, and it's
a vagina bed.
And and there's a vagina bed. Sorry, I buried the lead. And it's about a man. It's about a sex therapist and his vagina bed that eats people. And I'm really excited. It's nothing like what you expect it to be. I found it very challenging to fully get across what this movie is. But it is like all of my inspirations in life grouped together into a film that is very much my aesthetic, not trying to really ape anybody else. My last two movies were very much aping. I mean, The Head is a lot of my aesthetic, but it's still aping a certain style. I really pushed the Franco connection and the Indiegogo, and there is that there. But the more that we work on it, the more it's just kind of my thing. So please, if you can, feed the bed. You can go and pick up the perk still, as long as it's in demand. And again, that'll be for a few months. But we could really use the money because everything's practical. We'll probably end up using a little bit of computer trickery here and there, but almost every effect, and there's a lot of them, is practical. We even have, for one quick gag, we're getting a head cast made. I mean, there's a lot happening.
Nice.
And it's gonna be a real vagina bed. My geneticist is working on it right now. And yeah, Dr. Deathface coming at some point.
Appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out tonight. As Michael's leaving, we'll be around for another 10 or 15 minutes probably, but thanks for hanging out, and hope to have you on again soon.
Okay, anytime, man. Bye, guys.
Have a good night. Enjoy Morbius.
I won't. Bye.
See ya later.
Oh, you're gonna cut. Oh, shit. Oh, I gotta do it.
All right, we're definitely going to leave that in. Let me see. We always talk about what is coming out next week in case you forgot as well. So let's bring that up real quick. Big one for me. I've been waiting on Scream 2022 in 4K until I have the disc in hand. So I am waiting until next Tuesday, hopefully, to watch that. Can't wait to see that again. Not again. Can't wait to see that for the first time. Going to be watching it with my sister, I believe, who is in Arizona. Going to stream it together. 8 Diagram Pole Fighter from Arrow is releasing. A lot of places already have that in stock and shipping. Parallel Mothers from Pedro Almodovar, which has, I believe it got an Oscar. But yeah, it's supposed to be a great film. 2LDK has been shipping from Unearthed for a while, but just in case you don't have it yet, the official date is next week. And then a handful of rather small titles. You got Jigsaw coming from Cohen, a partner label of Kino. You got The Indian Tomb coming from Kino. The Body My Enemy, I think that's a Code Red title, or Scorpion coming from Kino. The Violent Breed as well. Prehysteria 2 from Full Moon, of course. Everybody is dying to have that one. Let's see. Not much else coming in. The Immortal, that is the Gamora standalone film. That's also coming next week. And that is great. Asian Movie Enthusiast says 2LDK. You got to get that one. Last thing I wanted to say, now that Keene is gone, thank you all for hanging out. Thank you for coming and supporting these. Next week, here is some news that I'm going to be throwing up for next week. Tomorrow at noon Eastern, Vinegar Syndrome is announcing their April release slate and all of the OCN titles for the month of April. Even though we just went over the May titles that are coming in that package, they have a full other package that they are announcing tomorrow. And next Thursday, to go over all of that with us live, we will have Brad Henderson himself from Vinegar Syndrome to respond to all of the titles that they are announcing, all of the OCN titles, to go over all of the announcements with us. Next Thursday is going to be a massive show. Please come hang out. Please come back. It's going to be a great one. It is also the end of the month, which means tomorrow is the best possible day to sign up for my Patreon. I do a giveaway every month for the Patreon, and we have huge conversations. Just today, we talked about 4K players. We talked about OCD and collecting. We talked about having ADHD in collecting, and it's going to be a good time. So if you want to come over to our Discord, got to get on the Patreon. There's a great little community growing there. I appreciate all of you. And speaking of that, if you want merch, it is the last night of the sale. I've got 47 minutes left on my clock till midnight. So if you want in on that 10% off, it is the best time to get it. I appreciate you guys. And yeah, till next time, from one collector to all of you, have a good